What did you think of Dr. Tim?
Oh, I loved it. I was really impressed. I really enjoyed it. This is my third year, and it's been great.
You gonna come back again?
Yes, definitely. I loved it.
Hi, Shelly.
Hi.
What did you think of Dr. Tim?
It was great. I really didn't want to come to it because I was like tired and I was like, this is going to be boring. But I loved it. I mean, I want to come back again. It was like really moving.
What do you think that you've learned tonight?
I've learned I have to give more because I attention and everything, and I really have to give and be caring and nicer to people.
Think you might come back again?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot.
I learned that it's not the individual that counts, but as much as the entire group.
Think you guys are going to come back again?
Definitely. And bring other people with us.
I'd love to.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. So here's what they do. This was the National DECA Conference, whatever, I don't know. They take the best kid from the school. This is the kid that all the teachers go, we wish you could be more like, and then they say whoever's name it is. Then they took those kids and took all the counties' best kid, put them together, picked the best kid out of that. Then they took all the county schools, best kids from all the county schools, put them in the district, picked the best kid out of that. Then they took all the district schools, the best kid, put them in the region, took the best kid out of that. And then, of course, that kid went to state. They took the best 2 kids from every state and a couple from District of Columbia and Puerto Rico and blah, 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 this sort of thing. So there's 162, I think, of these kids. And we're going to be with them a week. They paid, are you ready for this? Scary to death, $6,000 a piece to go to this workshop. Now, they had sponsors, McDonald's and Exxon and, Kellogg's and all that stuff. They're giving them money. So in go these kids, and we're going to be with them 5 days. The leaders of tomorrow. These are the leaders of tomorrow. Okay. So smart, these big DECA kids. So the head guy is a general. He's a 2-star general. I don't know if anybody here in here is from a military family, but you're wearing a couple stars on your shoulder. You're a big deal. This guy's like 72 years old, I think, had 4 or 5 PhDs, graduated from seminary. I mean, he's an ordained minister. He's big wig. Won a few wars, all this sort of thing. The lady who's organizing this is one of these guys. And I wish I could do this well. And tomorrow, she's explaining the week. And tomorrow at 10:47 we will, and then she turned the page to her book, and we all had Bibles of what we were supposed to do. She knew the number of sheets of toilet paper in every stall. I mean, she's got this organized to the point. And we're all sitting there like, oh, come on, let's go, She says, are there any questions? Now, this general hasn't said a word during this whole hour of preparation. He holds up his hand. She says, yes, General Steinmeier. And he says in a voice so soft you can barely hear it, child cannot pay total attention to me at all times. May I dismiss them? She said, what? He said, if a child cannot pay total attention to me at all times, may I dismiss them? She said, well, I understand what you're saying, but she said, you don't understand. These are the smartest kids in our nation. She said, they're going to be sitting on the edge of their chairs. They're going to be hanging on to your every word. There will not be a problem. And she finishes. Now, she didn't answer his question. That was interesting. He goes, thank you. Child cannot pay total attention to me at all times. May I dismiss them? She said, well, I don't think you understand. You're not going to have anybody. They're all going to be, and that's why they can't hear you, and blah, 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 blah. Doesn't answer his question. And she stops. He goes, thank you. Child's not able to pay total attention to me at all times. May I dismiss them? She said, what you're asking is you want to kick them out. He said, I just don't want them in any of my part of the workshop. She said, sure. He said, they won't come back to any of my part. She goes, no. She goes, fine. So we go down. Now we're going to meet the kids, right? And, I look at this auditorium. I think this is great. I mean, we've got, chairs, and we got carpeting, and we got the light thing going here and everything. This was in one of these fancy hotels where the chairs did this, And, they had the AV and the laser beams and, watering glasses and all this sort of fancy stuff. So we go down, and she gets up and spends about the first 45 minutes she's reading the rules of the workshop. How many of you have ever gone to a retreat or a summer camp or any of that stuff, where they spend the first hour telling you all the things you can't do? Pretty soon you're like, crap, I'm going home, if this is the case. It's going to be a drag, right? So she finishes and she goes, and now the person you've all come to hear, blah, 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 General Steinmeier, blah, blah. Response is about like this. Very obligatory, very and there were a couple guys in there that were setting themselves up with the babes for the week. They're like, hey, mama. Hey, baby, come on, It was great to watch all this interchange. So he gets up, and he pushes the microphone aside. And he says, I wish I could do this as well as he did it. He goes, children, kept calling them children, children. during the workshop, if I come up at any time and tap you on the shoulder, you get up and leave and don't come back to any of my part of the workshop. Now, is there anybody that doesn't understand? And they all just kind of sat there. He goes, do you understand? And you get a few nods. And the kid he had tapped is one of the, you know. And he says, that kid, he said, did you understand? The kid goes, yeah. He goes, then leave. And it went downhill from there. He took out 6 in the first half hour. These kids are on the outside going, $6,000, my God, let me in. And he wouldn't do it. He was really cool. At the end of the week, I was sitting eating lunch with him, and I said, okay, I said, you got to help me. I said, you got to help me. I said, I do this every day of my life. And I said, I always got 1 or 2 kids who are just, they're not mature enough to get it. They're not, I mean, they're sophisticated, but they're not mature. You know, they act grown up, and they play all the grown up behavior patterns, but they don't understand what's behind it. They're just not ready. And I said, you know, I'm always afraid to say anything. And I said, you just go up and go, choo. And he said, oh, yeah. He said, Tim, he said, you can't allow those people in there. They'll contaminate everybody else. And he said, by the way, he said, at my age, he said, I don't have a lot of time to coax people. He said, at this level, I'm not going to entertain them. I mean, this guy was incredible. In fact, one kid, a really neat kid, I liked him too. He got him about the 3rd or 4th day. It was great because you'd see him walking towards somebody, and this kid's like, no, boom, and the kid hit, you know. And so at lunch, this kid came out. He goes, oh, General Steinmeier. Oh, General Steinmeier. He said, I got to talk to you. I got to talk to you. He said, you don't understand. He said, you don't understand what went on. He said, I just for a moment. He said, I just looked down for a moment. I looked up. There was your hand. He said, oh, my God. He said, please. He said, I'll give you. And I'll do anything to get back in. He said, I'll do anything. And the general said, well, you know. And the kid goes, please, don't interrupt me. Let me finish. And I thought, oh, you shouldn't have done that. And so he talks about how his dad's lieutenant governor and everything. And when it's all done, the general goes, you know what? He said, I have to tell you something. He said, when I tapped you today, he said, I thought I might have been wrong. But he said, now that you shared all that information with me, I'm certain I was right. You have a good day. Bye-bye. So I've been tapping people since then. And it's really neat. Did that little voice just go, no, no? We all have 2 voices in the back of our head. This voice over here that just jabbers around all the time. It's always checking out girls and everything else. You know, and girls, your little voice checks out guys. Ooh, cutie. Ooh, na, 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 na. Right? And then we have this voice over here. And this is your higher spirit or your value system, or for those of us who come from the religious community, you know, this is our contact with, you know, the higher spirit and all. And these 2, how many of you know the 2 voices I'm talking about, just out of curiosity? How many of you ever watched them get in an argument? Let me help you out. How many in this room date? How many of you ever gone out on a date? Okay, it's the 2 voices that get in an argument on the date when you're doing the stuff you shouldn't be doing. Okay, you know what I'm talking about? Does that help you out? Where this voice goes, yeah, whoa, yeah, I'm loving it, whoa, yippee. And this voice going, no, no, where are your ethics? Shut up! I waited 14 years for this. You'll be sorry. If you keep your mouth shut, leave me alone. Let me enjoy it. Now, the problem is, this is usually the voice that wins out, isn't it? It drowns out your ethics and your scruples and your integrity. And then, of course, the minute you do something you shouldn't have, this is the first voice that goes, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You're like, so, I mean, I just, people that need a lot of attention, people that are real I me and please notice me, and people who walk around and flex their look how cool I am and how you aren't cool muscles. I'm sorry, that had anything to do with leadership. You know, now that I'm teaching in college again, I've got doctoral students, graduate students that still don't understand what leadership's about. Now, I'm going to ask you a series of stupid questions. Isn't this exciting? How many of you ever had somebody ask you a stupid question? Well, come on, you go to school, you get them all the time. Did you ever get a test back, you get an F on it? Teacher goes, did you study? You think I studied and got an F? Of course I didn't study. Look. Or like somebody like fall down 4 flights of stairs. Inevitably, somebody will come over and go, are you okay? You know, like you're going to go, oh, absolutely. In fact, I was thinking about doing it again. Would you like to join me this time? We'll go up and we'll fall down together. You know why we're laughing? We've all done it, haven't we? I don't know why I laugh at things. I always laugh at things that you shouldn't laugh at. Like when people fall down on ice. I think that's the funniest thing in the world. You know, the consideration about their welfare is just not even in my, they go, blah, blah, and, there's blood flying all over, and this girl's purse opens up, and somebody goes, are you okay? Oh, yeah, this was fun. Any of you ever been sitting in the bathroom and somebody opened the door and walked in on you unexpectedly? How many have had that happen? Well, see, most of us, if your hand's not in the air, it will eventually. Always watch it. They'll open the door and they never know what to say, and they're like, hi. What are you doing? Like, you really want me to answer this? Well, let's think this through. As I sit here on this toilet, I'm playing croquet. So I'm just not into people in here who are into their life. And where you barricade yourself with 3 or 4 of your friends, and we're going to mix up in here. And if you're real insecure, I had one young man this summer. I shouldn't tell you this stuff, because you're probably sitting there going, I'll bet when he leaves here, he talks about us. I do. One minute, this is like one of the 3. Anybody been in one of the summer events with me where you go 3 or 4 days and you hang out? And we do weird stuff. We fall off buildings, and I'm serious, and spin around in the air and do all kinds of weird stuff. And I'm always into, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to mix up. You got to reach out. You got to stretch. You got to keep pushing. And was this one kid who did this really well during class. How many of you know the kind of people I'm talking about? Always answer the questions and just our teacher. And then they turn around and Every day during lunch, he would get this one little freshman girl back in the cafeteria in one of the booths, and they'd sit back there and play handsy games. And I let it go the first day. And then it was like, this is getting to be a bit much. So I went back, and I'll call him Matt, for lack of a better term. I said, hey, Matt. I said, leave her alone. And he got real defensive. He goes, why? I said, because you're supposed to be sitting with people you don't know. You're supposed to be stretching. I said, you just got her back here in this corner. You've had her here for the last 3 meals. So you guys kind of got a separate game going. And so come on, leave her alone. I mean, she's a freshman. She's going to do anything. She's so enamored that some senior guy's paying attention to her. He's like, he got real defensive. He goes, I've done everything you've asked. And that's the problem with you, Matt. You only do what you're asked. You're not smart enough to think of anything on your own. Now leave her alone or go home. He goes, I'll call my mom. You don't have to. I've already talked to her. Grow up, Matt. Play the game, pal. So these people who get into their real considerations about everything, so forth. If you happen to be one of those people and you already know you don't want to spend an evening hanging around a fat, bald old gypsy, it's okay. You can get up and go now. Isn't that peer pressure great where people are like, no. Put your pencil and paper down. Let's have some fun. Put your pencil and paper down. I hate things that aren't fun. Got to have a good time. Get some joy in here. Without taking your bottom out of the chair, put your feet flat on the floor. Would you take both hands and reach as high as you can reach? Good. Now, would you reach higher? Good. Put your hands down. How'd you do that? I go, reach as high as you can reach. You go there. I go, reach higher. You go, okay. And if I said reach higher, you go, oh, okay. And if I said reach higher, you might get disgusted, like, okay. We're not even close to reaching as high as we can reach. We reach as high as it's comfortable. Now, what's this got to do with leadership? Most of us will only do what we need to do to get by. How many of you make pretty good grades in here? Probably most of you do. That's why you're in here, yeah. You know what? I'm not into the straight A students. You've got this game down where a teacher goes, you have a paper due May 15th, and it has to be on Balboa or something like that. You know what the first question you'll ask is? Just say it. How long? Yeah, absolutely, you're exactly right. How long does it have to be, finish the sentence, to get an A? Exactly right. And the teacher says 12 pages. You know how many most of you'll do? 12. I'm not looking for people who do 12 pages. You're a dime a dozen. I want somebody who's going to do 17 or 21 or 35 or 111. You're like, well, I don't want to do that. Good, don't be a leader then. How many have ever been around a bad leader? Wasn't that a pain in the fanny? Aren't you tempted to go, look, just don't do it? Let's call this like it is. So I'm looking for those of you who don't meet the standard, but set the standard. So here comes my stupid questions. These are so stupid. How many of you think there's more potential in your organization than is getting out of it? Great. Now, if you didn't put your hand up, you shouldn't even be here. I mean, if you're like, no, we're maxing it out, then come, take over. How many think there's more potential in you than is getting out of you? Interesting. Here comes a really stupid one. How many of you want your group to get better? Isn't that stupid? Like people are going to go, no. No, we'd like to get worse. You know, we just want to go down the sewer. How many think for the group to get better, there's going to have to be some changes? Good. How many of you know change is uncomfortable? Absolutely it is. People hate to change. Now, how many of you think that the people who are going to change are the people in your organization that are sitting at home right now? How many think when you go back tomorrow, there's going to be a major shift in those people? I agree. I don't think they're going to change at all. How many think your directors are going to go through a huge metamorphosis here? There's going to be a major transition in them. I agree. Because if the people behind you aren't going to change and the people ahead of you aren't going to change, that only leaves one group of people. That's us. And change is uncomfortable. You just said, I'm willing to be uncomfortable. I want my group better. I know there's more potential. I know there's more in me. I'm willing to be uncomfortable. I'm willing to reach higher. So let's see how good you are. Put your feet flat on the floor. Good. Sit up in the chair taller. Let me make you uncomfortable. Now, pull out to the front of the chair. Is that little voice going, why? Are we going to sit this way all night? Okay, pull up taller. Good. Lift that chin a little bit. See, you look really good now. See, I got you in this corset, don't I, where I'm like making you look real good. Now, there's only one place else I can go to lift this room a little bit more, and that's in your face. Most of us hold our faces like this. All the time. I call it flat line. Any of you watch soap operas? How many people in here watch soap operas? They're watching, you know, because they're always got them in the hospital and the heart meters on them, and oh my God, oh Bill, whatever. Then that meters go, boop, 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 boop. Flat line. You got one dead sucker there, all right. So, you know, I look at you and I go, okay, you really want it to be good. And then, how many of you are musicians in this room? How many, well, okay, let me say it another way. How many of you aren't musicians? It's okay, I just need to know. Anybody not involved in a musical organization? It's okay. Anybody? Good. How many of you are choir people? How many of you are band people? How many of you are orchestra people? Good, we got anything else? It's okay, just tell me so I don't want to avoid somebody. You know, somebody's like, we're a zither group or something. Did you have your hand up, dear? Cheerleaders? Cool. I love cheerleaders. You guys are the best. You're so tenacious. You cheer when there's no hope. I love you. I'm serious. Oh, man, even the band is left, you know. There's a football score like 73-3. You're behind. There's like a minute and a half left. God bless your heart. You're down there going, defense. Defense. Defense crap, this thing's over with, man. Somebody pull the plug, take it out of its misery. Okay? So we got cheerleaders, that's musicians, that's part of it, yeah. You're a musical organization, you can't keep time, we're in trouble. Good. Flatline. Mezzo forte. Fine. Are you a leader? Mm-hmm. Excellence is my mantra. Did you ever hear a choir sing mezzo forte? That is the worst sound in the world. I'm not even sure I can do it. I might see if I'm hoarse enough to do it. Praise God. Praise God. Praise Him. Praise Him. Hallelujah. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Yeah, God's going, hey, really good. Thank you. Read the dynamics. You band people. Oh, a band that plays mezzo forte. Then I'm going to take first inning too. You go, do something! And then I look at you, we're leaders, and people go, I go, how you doing? I walk out in the hallway, go, how you doing? I'm fine. I have leprosy. You know, it's hard. So pull up again, come on, you've already slumped. I want to get some life in those faces. I don't want those eyes dead. So I want you, the next place to go is a smile. No, I want teeth. And I don't want this. I want a genuine tooth smile. And I'm going to go around the room and find about 5 or 6 people that aren't doing it real well, and then I'm going to have them come up, and we're going to introduce them, find out what school they're from. Did you feel it? Ah! That little voice goes, no! No! It'll be me! Yeah, we'll soon find out, won't we? All right, lift up here, baby. Lift that chin a little bit and pop those teeth. Let's see that smile. We got our first candidate already. I might be back, so don't up on me here. And 2. And 3. What's this? And teeth. You'll back up there, my friend. Good. Let's get them up here, see how good they are. Look, aren't you like, oh my God. You know why a person wouldn't want to smile? It gives themselves away. We have really confused seriousness with substantive. Or like, this is what the kid was about, I was telling you. If you didn't play the game his way, under his terms, he just threw a fit. I'm sorry. That's where the general would have got some of you just then. I should be here. See, if you're going to be a leader, you need to be able to focus. And this is one of the things we don't tell you. And to be real honest with you, we have done a miserable job talking about leadership. We just assume you're going to get it. How many in this room drive? How many have ever been driving a car and really weren't focusing on what was going on? My hand's in the air. Did you ever do that where you like try to drive and work on your seat at the same time or something? And like you're in traffic and you're like, and then you go, I've got it down. And then you spend a little too much time on little CDs. You're like, and you look up and the traffic is stopped. And you're like, ah! You know, that car's going, ah! And the first thing goes to mind is, I could have killed myself. You know, let's forget those 5 babies in the car ahead of you, or the semi behind you. Let's only worry about me. That's what leadership's about. Leadership's about giving up yourself. It's about getting to other people. If you aren't ready to do it, you shouldn't be in here. You have got to be a pretty darn mature person. You know, that's the thing. Everybody comes to workshop, people, oh, the kids were so excited. The kids were so excited. But it didn't last. They were mature enough to embrace it. Nothing lasts, for heaven's sakes. Showers don't last. Baths don't last. Food doesn't last. This is hard work. And if I were 15, 16, 17, 18 years old again and somebody was in my face telling me I had to give and not take, I'm not sure I could handle it. I'm not sure I'd even want to be a part of it. Our life is so organized about what's in it for me that to get another theme is hard. How many of you want people to follow you? They're going to follow you when you bring a benefit to their life. They're not going to follow you just because you said so or because you're a senior or any of that other stuff. Lift up. You have every right. You have every right to give as much as you can because that's where you're going to get it. Now, we will mix several times tonight. This is the rule of the game. You need to be between 2 people that aren't from your school. Now, also, trust me, it's really healthy if you get completely away from everybody from your school. If you only go one about that, sort of didn't, make it. When we move, we got to move fast, all right? The first one, 1 minute, and then silence. Go. Always go to the inside so people don't have to crawl over you. Always go to the inside so people don't have to crawl over you. Thank you. Good. Let's go to work. Let's get those, and we'll get some stuff down here. How many in this room have figured out that this leadership thing is pretty serious? Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a reason in a car that there's a driver's seat and 4 or 5 passenger seats. There's a reason for that. Because most of us aren't capable of keeping our eyes on the road. So that we get to ride along. And, you know, we can sit there and we can, you know, read or make out or eat or, you know, whatever we do. And we don't have to be responsible. The only problem is, go then. You go wherever the driver goes. So, with the benefit of leadership and getting to map your own course, there's a tremendous responsibility with it. You come early, you stay late. You do the work nobody else wants to do. And, you know, it's just hard to convince. Most of us are meeting the minimum. To ask people to go above it, incredible. Excuse me. How many said you were band people in here? Don't worry, I love it. I have a love-hate relationship with it. Did you ever stand out there and go, that was pretty neat, whatever just happened? Was that supposed to happen, Dan? Were those lights supposed to go off? Cool. There'll be people crawling over you. Don't worry about this. How many have ever stood in a marching band rehearsal when it's like 111 degrees and gone, I'm going, Lord, take me now. This will be easier, right? I was doing a camp this past summer in Texas, and they get pretty serious about it down there. It was in June, and there were all these kids from all these schools. And do it. When I drove by the bank, the thermometer on the bank read 111 degrees. And they were going to march these kids on asphalt. So we got, you understand, right? So good. And the college kids are kind of in charge of this thing, and they're going like, everyone will do this, and they got all their schedule. And I'm looking at it, and they're going to play music in the morning, they're going to march in the afternoon, they're going to play music at night. And I'm like, no, you got this backwards. You want to march in the morning when it's what? Cooler, and you want to march at night when the sun is cool. See, you figured it out. Oh, no, we've got the schedule made out. I said, don't just take them out and roast their brains out. No, it will build character. No, it will kill a human being. I mean, let's be honest about this. And it was neat. Those kids would go out there, and they'd just be all fired up. Energy on them, and you see them go like, boom. And when they did, these college kids, it was great. They had buckets of ice and cold towels and ice water, and it would be like Firehouse Brigade. They'd go, there goes one, woo! And they would run over, and they'd lift the person up, and they'd put cold towels on them and give them ice water and all this. I don't know about you, but if the person beside me went down and got ice, absolutely, boom, I'm next, man. I'll fake anything, right? So we're walking out. We have our first rehearsal. And this little girl at the end comes up, and a little clarinet player, and oh, thank you, and so forth. And I said, oh, that's neat, She said, would it be okay for you if I straighten the chairs? Yeah, sure, do whatever you want to do. She goes, well, I think what you want to do? Yeah, okay, well, do whatever you want to do. So we're headed outside, and I mean, it's just where your shirt's matted to you. She comes up, she hooks her arm in my arm. Her name was Shelley, I'll never forget her name. She said, can I talk to you on the way out? I said, yeah. She said, during the rehearsal, when we're outside, she said, after about an hour and a half, she said, I'm going to have to leave the field, parking lot, and then she said, I'll be back in about 20 minutes. But she said, I didn't want you to worry about me, and she said, or think you offended me, or, something's real wrong. I just don't let it disturb you. That's interesting. You don't want to color, dear. You don't want to write or color. Your eyes need to be here. Yeah, that's it. And she said, so just be prepared for that. And so she was talking. I'm like, well, maybe she has sugar diabetes. That's probably it. Or maybe she got stomach flu, or, well, I don't know. So finally I said, Shelley, do you mind telling me why you're I mean, is it personal or something? You know? She goes, oh, no. See, I'll tell you. Are you ready for this? I was ready for sugar diabetes. This little girl looks at me with these gorgeous brown eyes, and she says, I have leukemia. And I'm like, oh, my God. I mean, that stuff kills you. And I said, did you just find this out? She goes, I've known for 6 years. Well, I said, what stage is it in? She said, it's in the last stages. I thought she meant like remission. Stupid. I go, good. She said, good. She said, you know, misunderstood. She said, I'm in the last stages of life. I said, how long you got? She said, 4 to 6 months. This was June. June, July, August, September. I said, you're at a camp learning to do something you're never going to get to do? She said, yeah. So what are you doing here? She said, it's my last camp. It's going to be my best. I watched that kid go in the cafeteria. She'd get her tray, and she'd look around the cafeteria and find some kid that was sitting by himself or herself. She'd head right for him. Sit down, you know, befriend him. You know, when they're out there and they go, run her back, start from the beginning, and everybody, you know, sort of thing. She would be the one that would run up to him and grab their hands. Come on, let's go. So she told me, I mean, if you know anything about leukemia, it's a disease, it's a blood disease, where the body uses the nutrients of the blood, but it can't replenish itself. And eventually the immune system breaks down, and you get a cold that turns into bronchitis, that turns into pneumonia, and you die and drown in your own body liquid. She said, I said, you look so healthy. She said, I have all new blood. She said, I just got a transfusion. I have 4 pints of new blood in me. But she said, by Wednesday, I'm not going to be doing good. So she said, you got to give me a little margin for effort. But she said, my mom's coming to get me. She's going to take me back to Dallas. She said, I'm going to get another transfusion. And I will admit, I mean, here was the pack. She was like up here. And by Wednesday, yeah, she was down with the rest of them. I mean, she just didn't have energy to do it. Wednesday, we're out there. This car pulls up. She waves goodbye, jumps in the car, takes off. That night, car pulls up. She jumps out of that car, and she hits the ground running. She's great the rest of the week. And you know at the end of the week how you do that. Oh, I love the last performance. I love you, and I'll see you next year, and I love you. She comes up. Mom introduces me. How you doing? Great. I said, you were great. And I said, I really love you a lot. I said, you just did a great job. You meant more to me than I meant to you. I learned so much from it. I said, I can't wait to see you next year. She looked up, man, and those tears just gushed out of that little girl's eyes. She goes, I won't be here next year. Oh. I said, I'm sorry. She goes, it's okay. She said, I will see you sometime. Mm-hmm. Sometime. You know what? I'll take her to every All-Stater in this room. I'll take her to every kid that once got straight A's, to every first-string quarterback. I'll take her to every governor's school kid because she walks the talk. And just like throw her achievements out. She did it. She asked nothing in return. So those are the kind of people I think make a difference. And that's where I'm going to press you. There's a part of this whole thing that I do every year that hides. It's a part I've taken. Where are the veterans in here? Veterans, it's the part I think you need to know. And this is probably why it doesn't last for some of you. The part of leadership that hides. Let's talk about it. Let's get it down before we even start the next thing. First of all, is honesty. If you are not a person that operates from a foundation of honesty, then the rest of this is just like building a skyscraper on quicksand. And I think we've all bent the truth and blah, blah, blah. You have to be honest. The second thing is there has to be integrity. If you are a leader for self-serving purposes, it's not going to work. If you are a leader to build up your resume for when you go to college, this is not going to be for you tonight. This is about the kind of leadership that helps people, not that makes you look good, not that spotlights you. This is an interesting one. There has to be dignity. That pulled that stuff this weekend. How undignified can a human being be? I mean, what else can you possibly do? When we take a trip, do we go into a restaurant and see how high we can stack the salt shakers? You know, just so everybody will look at us and like that. That you have to be ethical. if we don't base everything on ethics, and then, if it's a manipulation to promote ourselves, no. And the last one is you have to be sensitive. And that's where the little Shelley gal really had it together. Incredibly sensitive. Now, I push you in these things because I want you to get as much down as you can. But if we don't start out taking care of the part that hides, the rest of it is just, it's for naught. It doesn't make any difference at all. So I really push you in this. Put your pencil paper down. Let me see how good you are. I like to go fast. Any of you have classes that go slow? Does that bug you? Yeah, no, take your hands, put them like this. Just for all musicians, this will be easy. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, clap. When I say clap, clap your hands. Don't miss it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I didn't say clap. I said when I say clap, clap your hands. By the way, 2 of them have just gone by since I've been talking. You missed both of those, too. You're like, I don't like you. Let's do it again. Don't clap till I say clap. There you're getting it. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Now, every time I say clap, you get a chance to clap. I can say clap at any time tonight. And when that word clap shows up, I really want you to clap. Now, if I say class, only clap, work. See now, did you miss it? That's the way I move. Now, how many of you in this room listen well? Come on, let me see how many of you listen well. It's be stupid to do this if you didn't listen well. I just want to see how well you listen. Grab your pencil and paper. Let me give you a fast test here to see how well you listen. Now, I move fast. My tests are easy. They just move quickly. Here's the first question. I tell you, I'm going to move fast. How many times can you subtract 2 from 24? Good. Second question is this. Is it legal in the United States for a man to marry his widow's sister? Next question is this, and it's a little story. Listen carefully. A Greyhound bus pulls up to a hotel. There's 5 people on it. 9 get off and 6 get on. You drive the bus to the next stop. 11 get off and 7 get on. This is the question. What color are the bus driver's eyes? Okay? Let's see how well you listen now. Let's go back to the first one. How many times, and you just answer together, how many times can you subtract 2 from 24? Once. Because after you subtract it, it's 2. How many of you had 12, just out of curiosity? Yeah, you divided. Good. Is it legal in the United States for a man to marry his widow's sister? No. Because if he had a widow, he would be dead. You see? Look, you're like, oh, well, for cramps. Now, how many know the color of the bus driver's eyes? Good. How many? I did say. How many know the color of the bus driver's eyes? How many have heard it before? Okay. How many figured it out from the game? Good. I did say the color of the bus driver's eyes. In fact, it was very clear. I don't think you were listening. Let me do it one more time. A Greyhound bus pulls up to a hotel. There are 35 people on it. 6 get off and 9 get on. You drive the bus to the next stop. How many of you are trying to figure out how many people were on the bus? Yeah. See, so in leadership, if we're over here trying to figure out what's good for me, we're going to miss what leadership is about. Leadership is about taking care of other people. Here are the 4 laws of leadership. Let's get them down real fast. First one is this. People are more important than systems. People are more important than systems or titles. It's the people that count. We walk around with, I'm president, and we have all our titles and our jackets and our medallions and our awards and our plaques and our... None of that makes any difference when it comes to leadership. It's about people. Now, the veterans will nail this first time out. Without looking, write down the person's first name sitting to your right and left. Did you make those people important? Look, you're like, well, for heaven's sakes, Lotzenheiser. Most of us sit down and just go like, hi. And if you're real insecure, you're only one person away from the person from your own school. And I mean, you just loudly go, oh my gosh, I'm scared. Good, you have 20 around you as though your life depended on it. Find out who they are. Go to work. Good. Now, Tonight, every time we move, do that. You understand something? Do you understand why you have those name tags on? That is the loudest word in your mind, is your first name. You hear that louder than any other word. How many of you ever had somebody call you by the wrong first name? Doesn't it tick you off? See, it hits your ego, doesn't it? Anybody ever have you get called by your mother or your brother or your mother or your brother, sister's name? Yeah. Well, I had your brother. Well, I'm not my brother. Jerk. I know. Those first names are important. You want to try it? Try it tonight. When you go to Burger King or Wendy's or wherever you go after this, just walk in, and whoever's behind, they always have their name tag on. Use their name about 3 or 4 times while you're talking to them. You get better service. And then walk away going, that is so cool. That's so cool. So let me ask you something. How many of you ever had somebody just walk up in school and just go like, boom, just hit you like that in the arm? So what do you do right away? Yeah, you hit him back. I'm a leader. Do you hit him as hard? You hit him harder, right? So here we go, right? Isn't this great? Hey, douche. You're like, well, do it. Do they quit? No. Do you quit? No. Do they quit? No. Bang. No, you quit. See, that's the distinction between a person who's a leader and a person who's not a leader. Somebody hits you. You go, oh, no, nobody pushed me around. See, that's the attitude of a not leader. A leader will go, you okay? You were just horsing around? Okay, cool, okay. Can't waste my time fighting you. I can't drive a car with the emergency brake on. It's stupid. I can't go swimming carrying a cement block. But we'll all do stupid stuff. How many of you ever caught yourself doing something stupid? Oh, sure. Did you ever catch yourself yelling at a computer? Yeah, speaking to an inanimate object, you piece of... Ate my letter, like the computer's going, this Lord. Put your pencil paper down, let's play a game. I got to do all these things these directors ask me to do. I forget. Take your hands, put them like this. When I say push, push together as hard as you can. Ready, go, push. Hard. Push it. Push. Stop. It's such a stupid game. First of all, what are we wasting? Time and going. Yeah, you know what responsibility is? That's the ability to respond. Let's try it again. You waste a lot of time and energy going nowhere. Okay, let's do it again, just so you can see how dumb it looks, right? Push. Now, you're like, this is stupid. Good. How many of you ever got in a fight with somebody when you knew you were wrong but wouldn't give up the fight? Is this stupid or what? Did not, you're not. World's going, yeah, no, by you like this. And we're standing there pushing it. Take your hands, put them like this. When I say push, push forward, ready, push, boom. Okay? See? No resistance. Here we go. This way. Ready? And stupid. And smart. All right. But see, we'll resist. We'll drag our feet. Our attitude is like that emergency brake. And we'll get in fights with people, argue over who's going to ride shotgun. I saw today on CNN News, they now have accounted for 100 billion galaxies. We are a small planet in a minor galaxy, and we're up dead in the remote control. Mom! And your mother has to come in and hand you the remote control because she can't get up and go get her something stupid. Don't waste your time doing stupid stuff. That's dumb. Don't get in fights with people. Don't have to make everybody else wrong. If it comes between being right and being kind, choose kind. What's this big deal about being right? Having to put everybody else down, having to win at all costs. See, boy, and I can just feel that little ego inside go, but I like to win. At the expense of another human? Those people walk around and go, I'm a leader and you're nothing. I'm the leader and you're nothing. I'm the leader, you're nothing. Are you the leader? Yes, I'm the leader. What are you leading? Nothing. You want to look good, you're going to make everybody around you look good. Grab pencil paper, let's go over the second principle. Second principle is this. You can't lead others until you lead yourself. Seems pretty obvious, doesn't it? You can't lead another person until you lead yourself. So however fast we go, the people around us, sort of the same thing. How many of you in this room have been in a leadership position before? You've already had some leadership position. Let me ask you a question. Those of you who've been in a leadership position, is there stress involved with it? Yes or no? Yes. Is there pressure involved? Yes, there's no question. So if you're going to be a leader, you can just get ready for stress and pressure. Let me ask you something. Help me out with this. If I take a lemon and I squeeze it, I mean, I nail that baby. I just press it for everything it's worth. What comes out? Juice. What kind of juice? Because that's the only thing in it. I can't squeeze it and have a Motorola television fly out. Or a Taurus or a puppy run out. Or something. The only thing that's in that lemon is lemon juice. I squeeze, I get lemon juice. I take an orange, I squeeze it. What comes out? Stay with me. An apple. A cabbage. That was a bad one. Okay, when you get there. Ready? If I take an insecure, immature, precocious, sarcastic, cynical child, and I put him in a leadership position, and that pressure hits, guess what's coming out? How many have ever seen one of your own colleagues get a leadership position, and it goes to their head because they don't know how to handle it? Yes. How many have ever watched people smart off to get attention because they don't? Yes, they can't handle the pressure and the stress. Because when they get squeezed, what comes out is what's going on inside them, which basically means they don't like themselves a whole lot, to be perfectly honest. So to the directors in this room, let's talk about this. I have a great concern about putting young people in leadership positions that aren't ready. How many of you in this room have a garden or spell garden or have seen a garden or know what a garden is? How many have ever walked into a garden and picked something before it was ripe? Let's say it's a tomato. You walk in and you pick it. You ever like take a bite out of it? You go like, oh, bitter. Oh, God, it's not ready. Now, what do you do with the tomato? You throw it away. You don't tape it back onto the mother vine and, then fertilize it. If we take a person that is not mature enough to be a leader and put them in a leadership position, when one of the followers comes in and tastes it, it's going to be bitter, and they're going to throw the person away. To the directors in this room, one of the problems is when that person is thrown away, rarely will they take any leadership position again in their life. They're incredibly jaded. They don't want it. They don't want anything to do with it. And the rest of the followers are going like, I tried it. It's no good. They're no good. We have to make sure you're ripe. We have to make sure you're ready. And you know what? I don't think we give you a lot of preparation. I just think we go, lead. How many of you said you did marching band? Do you know how much time we spend on getting that foot down and roll off and tuck the marble in your butt? And how we have guard people in here, flags, and do all that. How many of you? And we get the angle exact. And we'll just spend forever. And you orchestra people will get that and get the bow and pull and pull and pull. And we'll do forever. And leadership, you know what we do? We're the clarinet players in here. We probably spent 3 weeks showing you how to put the horn together. Getting the reed on. Leadership, we go, lead. And you're like, cool. All right. How do I do that? Charge. That's it. Okay. And there's no manual on it. So what most of us do is do what other people do. We just yell at people. Scream and yell at them. And you know what? I don't know about you. No, I do know about you. That's the problem. When people get screamed and yelled at, all they do is avoid the pain. So they'll do whatever they're asked to do. But the minute the screamer or yeller walks away, the puppet dies. How many of you want your group to get better? They're not going to get better until the leader takes charge and leads. Third thing is this. You're measured by what you give. And that theme's going to come up time and time again tonight. You are measured by what you give, not what you have, what you give. And the last can somebody give Kim pencil and paper here, help her out? Anybody else need a pencil and paper? Good. Somebody help Kim out. Thank you. Appreciate your help. And the last one is this. You can only give away what you have. So tonight is about giving you a lot of stuff to be able to give it away. And I'll press you, because you're good. This is a good group. I got a lot of veterans in here tonight. Now, if we stop there and only put that into effect, we'd be in good shape. Let's see if you can make the move in about 45 seconds this time. Ready, go. Good. Good, 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 good. About 15 seconds, and we'll lock this baby down. All right. Right. Now, if you sat down and wrote the person's name down on each side of you, just that's called cheating. How many in this room, have you ever gotten this? How many of you have assembly programs at your school? How many of you have assembly programs? How many, you know, I don't want to be sarcastic about this, but do you ever get, you know, and they, like the athlete that is kind of professional athlete that can't play anymore, and they go around and do assembly programs now about self-esteem and so forth, and they all end their program the same way. I'm going to laugh if I do this. No, I'm going to laugh. Because they go through there, and there's people like, yeah, right. And then they all go, and you, it's real dramatic, you are the leaders of tomorrow. You know, have people in the back like, yeah, right, and they're flipping. You know what the truth is? You are. Those of you who are involved in music, over 90% of the people that are sitting in this room tonight will go to college. Over 80% of you will finish an undergraduate degree. Over 40% of that group will finish a terminal degree. When we say, you are the leaders of tomorrow, you are. We know that. The research shows it. It's one of the reasons we get so excited about music people. So put your pencil paper down. Let me ask a couple questions. How many people in this room have ever lied? Some girl didn't put her hand up the other day, and I went, you never lied? She goes, uh-uh. I said, how old are you? 17. You never lied? Uh-uh. She goes, sometimes I don't tell the whole truth. That's called lying. Get your hand up, right? How many in this room have ever cheated? Yeah, speeding is cheating. Let me see again. Picked up a couple more hands there, didn't we? How many in this room would consider yourself at least partially lazy? Isn't this great? The leaders of tomorrow. Who are lazy, liars, and cheaters, right? It's like, by admission, yeah, I'm a jerk. You know there's only one reason to lie, don't you? And I've done it. The reason to lie is to protect your ego. No, don't talk about me anymore. It's the reason to lie. The reason to cheat, I mean, when we cheat, we all know the answer to this. When we cheat, who do we cheat? Ourselves. Oh, cool. Here, let me take a knife and jam it in my heart. Yeah. You know? So, I mean, it's like we got to get a hold of this somewhere. And I don't want to get in your face and preach about stuff, but come on. How many of you want to be How many of you want to be successful? My hand's in the air. Well, then that's real easy to do. We just got to get off our fannies and do it. Grab a pencil and paper. Let's go to work. Without looking, would you write down the person's name sitting in front and behind you? Now, look, for heaven's sake. Most of you just did side to side because that doesn't take as much energy. Got to turn all the way around. Take a look. See how well you did. Tim's easy for you. You got the problem. Good. Now, if you're sitting there, and this is the way you measure this stuff to see if you're any good. If you're sitting there and go, well, I'm never going to see him again, what makes a difference? That's pretty I-me oriented. Pretty selfish. And it doesn't mean you're bad. Please understand. When I talk about maturity, and we need to get this part down, because you're sophisticated. I mean, you're a smart group. When I talk about maturity, it comes in 4 levels. Let's look at it. The bottom level of maturity, basic level, is selfish. That's where we all start. That's where little kids are. Selfish. You got to do everything their way. You know, that 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old, you got to play their game, their rules, and their way. A little girl in my life called Mallory that hangs around with us. And Mallory's 5 years old now. Mallory will play with me forever as long as we're playing Barbie dolls. I have to play her way, under her rules, and sing her songs, and I cannot invite her to do any of the stuff that's in my world. She's very selfish right now in her life. Then you grow out of selfish into, the next level up of maturity is independent. Pretty soon you say, if everybody's not going to play the game with me, I'll just what? I'll just do it myself. Just fiddle with the rest of you. Watch out. It's a very dangerous place to be where you just go, the rest of the world doesn't understand, and I don't care. I'll just do my own thing. Right? I always like those people. I like the band people like that because they come into band and they take their instrument out and they put their music up and they play their music and they don't bend the pitch or bend the articulation, and then they finish, they put their music away, take their horn, put it away, and then off to the locker they go in. How many of you know people that aren't connected to other people? Nothing wrong with them. They're just not ready to be a leader. If you're selfish or independent, nothing wrong with you. You just, the third level of maturity is cooperation. This is when you finally figure out, I can't go it alone. I can't go in and clean up this whole rehearsal room on my own. It's going to take me forever. I can't go out here and sort all the music on my own. I can't build the float on my own. I need help. I better get some people involved in my game. Now, you've got to be at least at cooperation, the highest level. The highest level of maturity. Are you ready? It's called giving. And I don't mean giving expecting something in return. I don't mean giving a gift so you expect something in return. I don't mean writing a letter so you expect an answer. I had so many people go, I came in and I did this and I did this and I did this, and you didn't even say what? Thank you. I have to say thank you. You did it for the wrong reason. If you're being a leader, so your director will go, ooh, you're my favorite, your teacher's pet. Don't do it. You know what the real key is? Is to put up the bulletin board and not tell anyone who did it. Guys, you want to drive a girl out of her mind? Send a dozen roses and don't sign the card. Put something on it like, I enjoy watching you in algebra. And then watch her the next day in algebra going. Most of us want our signature on it. Most of us, anybody, you ever watch somebody tell a joke, and then somebody goes over here and tells it, and then when it's not funny, they go, oh, it wasn't mine, it was Bill's joke. Or if it was funny, they take the credit for it. Leadership is not about getting credit or taking credit. Leadership is about giving credit. Leadership is about always making the other people look good. Now, if you didn't write that down, what I just said, doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, but the leaders just hooked that line and took it. They didn't have to wait for that, okay, now put this stuff down. You know, even teaching in college, that's why I love to watch little kids. How many of you have ever been around little kids? Their level of enthusiasm is just wonderful, isn't it? Do you ever watch them? They run to everything, don't they? They run to stupid stuff. Watch first graders. They'll go, history. History! What are you running to history for? And then middle school, they what? Now they go to history. Right? They're not near as excited. And then by the time you get to high school, you guys stroll. All right? College, they don't even show up for class anymore. How many of you want to be good? It's not in the stuff I'm going to tell you tonight. It's in the stuff that's already in you. When you get to the point of giving, you got a hold of something. I mean, it's like, guys, it doesn't, in our world, it doesn't take a lot to be great. How many saw the Olympics? You watch those people, you go, God, how do they do that? You watch the swimmers, you know how the swimmers do that? They're just like you and I. But at one morning, at 4 o'clock, when you and I were asleep in bed, one of them was in a pool swimming. They did it the next morning, too. And the next one, and the next one. They just keep doing this. They don't back off. They don't wait for the test to study. They don't wait for somebody to dangle the carrot or hit them in the fanny with the hot rod. This thing called, and I hate this word, I just disdain it, called motivation. There's only one kind of real motivation. What is it? Self. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to go, well, you probably have bad days. I do. In fact, I even have bad times during the day. The only problem is I don't advertise it to people. How many in this room go to the bathroom? I certainly do. Do you have your friends come in? You say, excuse me, would you grab a Coke and a sandwich? Come on in. I think you're going to enjoy this experience of watching me do this. I go in there. I don't want anybody around me. I lock the door. I invite people to go to the next county. And I do what I have to do because it's part of life and clean myself up, and then I go back into life. But there's a lot of people that like to drag their dirt out because it always gets lots of what? Attention. And that's where we're going to go with this thing. You're a good group. I mean, having a good time so far. Yeah, people go, no, you're a jerk, Tim. Good. How many in this room are freshmen? Freshmen? Sophomores? Juniors? Where are you? Seniors? Good. We got anybody else that's anything else? I mean, we got any 8th graders? They'll have more fun than anybody if it is. Yeah. See, I always like that because the freshmen just are so darned excited. You know, they can't wait to be sophomores. The sophomores are going, hadn't anybody told you? It's really cool, and you get to be a junior. And the junior's like, no. Senior. And all the seniors in here know, don't you? Because you're going to be freshmen again in a few days. And this whole thing starts over. When is the time to really be excited about what you're doing? Now. Right now. But see, most of us are waiting for the prom. Or we're counting the days to the end of school. Most of us are waiting for the right time. We're waiting for the time to say to somebody this or that. Now's the time. What are we waiting for? Now's the time to laugh. Now's the time to cry. Now's the time to go for it. Now's the time to take the lead. Now, I gotta do this real fast. See, I always forget this stuff. Most of us, that's why I say little kids are the best. You can get little kids to do anything. You know, they go, sky's falling, oh yeah, and they're into it. And then as we get older, we get a little more jaded. Most of us have a comfort zone that we hang out in. How many of you, even in your own school, your band or your choir, your orchestra is part of your comfort zone? How many of you go to school and you go hang out in the rehearsal room? Any of you ever get a pass, get out of class, go down there and hang out? Like you're going to practice, but you don't. I mean, really? Am I serious? I mean, I'm really trying to be serious about this. How many of your friends are in that organization too? How many have boyfriend-girlfriend relationships in that organization? Yeah, sure. You know, how many of you even kind of stay away from the other people in the school? You just hang out with the, come on, be honest, most of us do, right? How many of you is your rehearsal room in a part of the school that's kind of distant from the rest of the school? Yeah, any of you have lockers outside there too and you keep your stuff down there? Yeah, any of you in the summer ever go over and hang out in the rehearsal room? Right? How many of you go on trips together? Good. How many think there needs to be more harmony and balance and blend within your group? This is going to sting. Then how come when we go on a trip we have a senior bus? You're like, tradition. Why when we go on a trip do we separate this group from that group? I was at school the other day where when they travel, it was a high-tech school, they had a lot of Asian population. They had an Asian bus when they traveled. And when they traveled, you couldn't get on that bus unless you were of Asian descent. It was even worse than that. If you were of Asian descent and you didn't get on the bus, you were discriminated against. See, we talk about harmony, balance, blend, togetherness, oneness, unison, ensemble, and then we separate, and the seniors set separate from other people. And they have their own bus, and they have their own place at the music banquet, just for seniors only. And the head table is just for the officers. Why wouldn't we put the people up there who really need that attention? And maybe it's time the officers should serve. Do any of you do like back to school retreat, camp, like this? Yeah. And where the freshmen are slaves to the seniors or whatever. Well, maybe we should make the seniors slaves to the freshmen. Look at the seniors go, no. No, I've waited for this. I'm just saying that people follow other people who benefit them. If you want people to follow, you got to come up with a benefit. So when we came in here tonight, how many of you sat down beside people you knew? Be honest. Good. Because that's safe, isn't it? It has nothing to do with leadership. It just has to do with safety. So the first thing I did was say, well, let's break out of our comfort zone. This wall is self-doubt. This is the thing that says, no, don't, you're not good enough, you'll mess it up, you're a jerk. Nobody really likes you. These people from the other school are weird, If they're from that other school, they're weird, right? They have cooties or whatever, I don't know. So out you go to sit beside somebody else. And of course what that did was increase your comfort zone. And then we did it again. Wasn't as hard that second time, was it? And we did it again. And if we just keep staying in this room and you meet everybody, this will become a separate group within itself. But most of us don't like to do things that are uncomfortable. How many said you want your group to get better? How many know that for the group to get better there's going to have to be changes? Good, help me out. You plant corn, what do you get? Come on, help me out. You plant corn, what do you get? Tomatoes, what do you get? Apples, what do you get? If you don't plant anything, what do you get? No, you get weeds. Go ahead, go out there and till the soil up there and don't plant anything. You watch what happens. It will not be nothing. It will be weeds. We have to reach out here. We're the leaders. We have to plant. Now, to do this, how many of you people in your own group that need to come out of their comfort zone? Good. How many of you sometimes need to come out of your comfort zone? My hand's certainly in the air. Absolutely. Most of us don't like to come out there. This has to exist before anybody's going to come out and follow you, and then we're going to play a game with it. It has to be safe. Nobody comes out of their comfort zone unless it's safe. The first time you got up and moved tonight, if you sat down beside somebody that had a gun that pulled out and said, I'm going to blow your brains out, you go, I'm not going to move again. This is not working real well. The second thing it has to be is challenging. Nobody likes to be around a leader that doesn't challenge them. Do any of you in here have classes with real easy teachers? Good. Be honest with me. What do you do during those classes? Sleep, write letters, nothing. Look around. It also has to be encouraging. You have to put them in the presence of courage. Now do this experiment real fast because this is one of the best exercises I ever knew to do this. Jessica, you want to help me? Come on up. What year are you in school, sweetheart?
I'm a junior.
Junior? And what, are you in the band, choir, orchestra, what?
I'm in band.
I'm going to back you up just a little bit. What do you play?
Clarinet.
Clarinet? This should be easy then, okay? Right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Put that right hand up just like that, okay? Look right at it. Put your fingers together. Nice nails. Good. Put your fingers together. Ready. Keep looking at it. Focus right on it, okay? I want you, the rest of you, watch this because you're going to have a chance at it. I'm the leader. She's the follower. Watch your hand. I'm going to watch my hand. But just follow my hand. Just follow it. Just keep watching your hand, though, Jessica. If you try a little harder, I'm up there. Come on, Jessica. Keep watching your hand. Not doing very well, dear. Should have never used a clarinet player. Come on, I'm really moved. Why, you are bad. Get up there. You make good grades? One would never know. Here we go. Stop. Don't go away. Now, don't go away. Did she do good or did she do bad? Honestly? It was terrible. It was horrible. And it's not because she's not smart or she doesn't care or she wasn't trying or poor attitude. It's none of that stuff. It's the fact I did a bad job of leading because I said, you watch you, I'll watch me. Now watch the difference. Let's do it again, Tiger. This time, you watch me, I'll watch you. That's the only difference. Instead of saying, I'm going to make me important, I said, Jessica, I'm going to make you important. And watch what happens. You watch my hand, I'll watch yours. Here we go. Stay right with me. Just keep watching that hand. Focus right on it. How's she doing now? You know what? I don't even have to watch, do I? This is incredible. Here's this person a little bit ago that was falling all over herself that's like right on the money right now. Really? See, I just had a key change there, right? Good, you did great. Give her a good hand. She did a good job. No. When you give somebody a good hand, giving's the highest level of maturity, you give them a good hand. Now, Jessica did a good job. Give her a good hand. Good. Now, who were you just clapping for just then? Wrong. You were clapping for yourself. You're like, what? Whenever you clap for somebody, it says more about you than the person you're clapping for. So if Jessica finished, I said, give her a good hand, you did this. See, that's where the general had those kids. If you did this. That doesn't say anything about Jessica. That says something about you. That says, oh, I'm not going to give anything away. And the general would have gone out, 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 just like that. And those of you who clapped, and somebody who over stood up, I think Tim stood up over here. I mean, he was like giving it all away. Don't you understand that when they say, give it up for, what they really mean? You're only worth what you give away. If that's what you gave away, you're not worth much. So every time you have a chance to acknowledge somebody, you want to go for it. You want to go for it. Jessica, you did a great job. Now, let's put you in the game. Put your pencil and paper down. And watch this. You two face each other. You two face each other. You two face each other. Face each other. Face each other. And face each other. Chicka-boom, boom. Good. All the way across. Yeah, just turn and face your partner. Good. Cool. Now, would you take your partner's right hand, just hold your partner's right hand. Okay? Now, don't get excited. I won't, I am touching another human for the first time. Good. Hold up your hand if you don't have a partner. Hold up your hand if you don't have a partner. Okay, well, that means we messed up here when we set it up. Okay, let me just do this real fast for you. Hold up your hand if you don't have a partner. Good. Just reset here. Reset. So we'll put the partners at the end. Reset. Estelle, turn around. Good. Boom, partners. Reset. Now take your partner's right hand. Curtis, take him as partner. Good, partners. Boom. Good. Good. Who do we leave out? Your partners. Good. Okay, jump back there and get one of those adults. It'll be easy to beat them, Elijah. Yeah, good. Okay, now, hold up your hand if you don't have a partner. Okay, just jump right over. See, gosh, how can you turn around. Turn right around. Look, boom. Good. Jump back and get one of those adults. They'll play with you. It'll be great. Good. Look, all the adults are going, I'll mess up, I'll mess up. Okay, you can let go of their hand unless you just want to hold it for some reason. Look at the guy's going, I got a babe the first time. God, I don't want to let go. Good. I want to do this all without talking. I love to do exercise without talking. How many of you have problems with people talking during rehearsals? How many know when people talk during rehearsals, it slows down the forward progress of the group? And it wastes a lot of and good. How many wish those people would shut up so you get more done? Good. How many of you talk during rehearsals? I know, and we laugh because it's so facetious. It's like nailing our foot in the wall and just running in a circle real fast. Going, I'm not going very far. You dumby. Good. Without talking, decide which of you is number one and which is number two. Just make a decision. Good. Number ones, you're going to be the leaders. Number twos, you're going to be the followers. The first time through, you only watch your own hand. Load them up. Ready? Now you challenge them, leaders. Focus on your own hands, everybody. Ready, and go. Cool. Stop. This is too good to keep to myself. I can't do this. Good. Cut the group map right here. I want you guys to watch them over here. I just want you to watch this. Do it exactly like you did it. Number ones, you're in charge. Ready, and go. And stop. Is that incredible? I mean, there's just no sense of unity, is there? Okay, you get to watch. Over here. Ones, ready, and go. Stop. Don't you go, that is just the stupidest thing in the whole world. Now, let's freeze frame and do a little analysis here. Number twos, be honest with me. Where are the number twos? Twos, hold up your hands. Number twos, be real honest. Does it feel good or bad? Do you like it or dislike it? Look, the ones go, not my problem. Hey, follower, you jerk. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, and you can keep this in your mind and write it down later. I don't want you to pick up your books and write it. Over 80% of every decision you and I make is based on a feeling, not on knowledge. So if it doesn't feel good, people aren't going to stay and follow you very long if all you do is watching yourself. Isn't that amazing? We know a lot of stuff, but that's not how we make decisions. We make decisions on how we feel. How many of you know if you study, you're going to get better grades? How many of you know that? I think we all know that. How many of you a lot of times don't study? And you're the leaders of tomorrow. How many of you know if you practice, you'll improve? Well, certainly. How many of you want to improve? Good. How many a lot of times don't practice? How many of you know French fries are like really bad for you? Good. How many of you eat French fries? See? It's like, how many of you know caffeine really messes you up? Okay, you want me to go on with this? I can go into drugs, alcohol, this sort of thing, and it's like, that's why I say, a leader with a bad attitude. And I'm not talking about being all sunshiny now. I'm just talking about this. Stupid. That is so stupid. How many of you know the people I'm talking about? I mean, you can name them, can't you? Oh, that's stupid, man. That's a bunch of crap. That's stupid. How many of you girls in here someday in your life plan to be a mama? That's on your agenda of things to do. Let me ask you this. Ladies, you're probably a lot more grown up about it than the guys are. When a young lady gets pregnant, do her habits change? Yes. If she happens to be drinking coffee and Coke and Mountain Dew and Pepsi and all that stuff, will she continue to drink it if she's a responsible mother? No, because of the what, ladies? The baby. The caffeine in her blood goes into the bloodstream of the baby, and we know that babies that are born from mothers that drink a lot of caffeine have a nervous condition when they're born. So if she's a good mama, a good leader of this follower, this papoose, she's going to say, no, no. And during that time, I'm not going to subject my child to this. I'm going to keep my system clean. If she happens to be a smoker, will she smoke during the pregnancy if she's a good mama? No, because of the, say it, the nicotine. The nicotine in the baby. Because when babies have nicotine in the blood system, they do not develop fully. They are dwarfed from the size they would normally be. If she happens to participate in alcohol, and she's a good mama, she will probably quit. Because it thins the blood and the brain can't develop. The child is born retarded from where it normally would have been. Heaven forbid that she's taken hallucinogenic drugs. I don't know if you've ever seen a film of the mother's crack cocaine. Oh, bleh. I mean, it's bad enough. The birth process is bad enough, isn't it? We yank this kid out of a warm, soft, it's like wet and dark and feels good. And we yank him out into the light, slice off the oxygen supply, crack him on the fanny, go, and that burns the pink lungs. We go, welcome to the world. And if the mother happens to be on drugs, the next thing that goes through that child's mind is, I need cocaine, and I need it right now. Because if I don't get it, I'm going to go into convulsions. And then we watch this embryo in seizures flopping around on a table as they go over to get an 8-inch needle to crack it with Novocaine to start an 8th-month withdrawal process. Not a very good leader, I don't think. And that's real dramatic, right? Well, what's that got to do with us, Tim? We're into the same thing. If we bring into our sectional, if we bring into our rehearsal sort of this, it goes right into the bloodstream. That's why I say this is hard stuff. But it's always just so easy to look at ourselves. So if the twos didn't like the experience, which they said they didn't, the ones, they're not going to follow you along. Now, let's flip. Let's put the twos in charge. This is called revenge. Remember how hard you hit them? Guess what's coming, baby? Watching your own hands. Twos, you're in charge. Let's go. And stop. This is great. Look at the twos just going, you son of a... Ones. Did any of the ones have this feeling? I wasn't that bad. Hey, I didn't pop you that hard. The twos are like, I don't care. I got you down, I'm going to cut your throat, right? I don't know what there is about the human creature that likes to hurt other human creatures. But there's no question it's there. There's no question that when the car cuts you off, that blowing the horn and doing one of those. And somehow there's that moment of, yeah! Or somehow yelling at some, what was that? It was the other night I was in Pittsburgh or someplace, and I got into the elevator, and it was going up to the registration was like on the 3rd floor, and there were some other guys coming in from a guy and 2 guys and a girl that had been at a hockey game that were coming in, and they were like, hold the elevator, and I tried to hold it, and I couldn't. It was like one of those that was like, I don't care if you're in there or not. I'm like, ah! Like that. So I went upstairs and I put my bag down and everything, and they came up in the next elevator, and as they came up, I just stood there and I said, hey, I'm sorry, I tried to hold it. And this guy goes over, he goes, did not, and he kicks my travel bag. And I'm like, what? Didn't that hurt your foot? But it was like, I'll show you. And it's like, oh, come on. You know we didn't get anything done here, don't you? We just wasted a lot of time and energy. Let's go back to the ones. Let's put you in charge. And ones, this time, watch the twos. Twos, watch the ones. And the idea is to get them to follow you. We're going to have to make it safe. It still has to be challenging. Don't do this baby, easy, simple, B-flat scale stuff. I mean, make it challenging. But don't lose them. Whatever you do, don't lose them. Okay, load them up. Ones, you're in charge. Let's go. Interesting. Good. Let me divide you again. So I want you, can you remember what it looked like the first time over here? Good. You watch, you do. Ready, and same thing. Go. Remember? Look at the difference. Good. Reverse it. Ready, and go. It's amazing, isn't it? Stop. First time, it's just like, Second time, it's like, oh yeah, ooh, baby. Mm-hmm. Ooh, ooh. Good, twos, let's put you in charge. Watching each other's hands. Ready, and go. Cool. Good, and stop. Look up here. Duh. Which did you like better, the first way or the second way? Second. Which did you get the most done? Second. Well then, don't you get it? Pull up. When you make other people important, they follow you. When you put the emphasis on them, that's the greatest technique in the world. Girls, you've got it down to an art form. You call it flirting. You know what I'm talking about, girls? You won't pay any attention to a guy for 12 years. One day you decide he's cute. And all it takes is one of those, hi, how are you? How many of the girls know exactly what I'm talking about? You betcha you do. All you do is take the attention off yourself and give it to somebody else, and they'll follow you. Come on, how many of you have a dog? Haven't you ever had your dog, like, you know, you're sitting there and they'll come up and just look at you like, well, I'm ready for you to pet me. Here, could you get my butt just a little bit there? How many of your dogs have that one spot where you get them where they're like, oh, yeah. Don't you understand we all have a one spot? We all have something about us. And if you're sitting there, then I don't, you're a great group. So I'm fussing, I'm going heavy on you. Going, oh, that's a bunch of crap. I'm not going to give any attention to anybody else. I have enough trouble taking care of myself. Don't you understand that's a downward spiral? That's how you got like that? How many of you have a good director? That's why you're here. Don't you get it? And if we don't feed that plant, and we don't water that plant, and we don't take care of those people that make it work for us, pretty soon they don't do it anymore. Because they get discouraged too. You've done more tonight in our short time together than I can get teachers to do in a faculty in-service. I can't get teachers to mix up. I can't get teachers to play games. I mean, it's always like, well, what's the reason? What's the analysis? It's just to learn, to get better. So you did good. Now, let me ask you something. Could we have done over here in this section what we've done so far tonight if those two sections hadn't cooperated? No, we'd have been dead. It's just like music. We always have to stop for the mistake. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds to acknowledge them for doing a good job. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Now, you're done. Center section, could we have done what we did if it hadn't been for those two sections? You got 5 seconds. Go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. Now, what you'll notice is they upgraded the game a little bit. Yeah, they threw in a few more. Now, you watch what's going to happen. They're loaded over here, right? Could we have done what we did tonight if it hadn't been? Good, I'll give you 5 seconds. Go. 5, 4. Now, I think you did that out of competition, to be perfectly honest. But why are we waiting to compete against somebody to get good? Who are we always competing against? Ourselves. You got 1 minute. Move this group, baby. Go. Cool. Good. He's working it. He's working it. Let me ask you something, gang. How many of you Now, when you sit down, just start meeting people around you, or they're pawing at you, or whatever. Yeah. Let me ask you this, and be honest with me. Does your own group at home work this well together? You know why? I heard a couple yeses, and I think that's great. If you said no, the reason is because you don't work this well together at home, you and the other leaders. I mean, let's be honest about this. You want the group to get better? It's only going to come from the student leaders. I can tell you the directors are not going to change a lot. I can tell you the people at home aren't going to change hardly at all. If there's going to be change and we're going to reach higher, it's got to come from you. Now, I don't know how bad you want it. I don't know how bad you want that group to get good or to get better. But it's in the student leaders. I will absolutely guarantee you that. You can break any group down like this. You don't have to write this down, by the way. You're going to get 10% of any group that's leaders. You're going to get 80% of every group that's followers. And you're going to get another 10% that drag their feet down here. And if the feet draggers, my little friend the other night who pulled his stunt, are more powerful than the leaders on front, they will pull the 80%. Because this is like a teeter-totter right here. If you leaders decide to go for it and work together, there's nothing in the world that can stop you. But you have to give up your ego to do it. Now, let's get this last part down. Because you're good. Remember, people are more important than systems. Without looking, would you write down the color of the person's eyes to your right and left? You were ready on the others, Mike, right? You had the others. Brown is always a good guess. You can't go too far wrong with brown. Good, take a look, see how well you did. Good. How many of you got it right, just out of curiosity? How many of you that got it right guessed? Oh, yeah. How many of you didn't have a clue what color their eyes were? It's okay. Yeah, because we don't take time to do that. We don't take time to make other people important. And the leaders in this world always make other people important. These things that we're putting up here tonight, while you're writing them down, you're going to end up with a couple pages of notes, are fundamentals. I can tell you all the water's been squeezed out. Now, check your body language right now, and if somebody took a picture of you, would you look like a leader? Now, I'm not insisting that everybody sort of be that happy, but do pull yourself up, because you deserve to be up. Every time I do this, I go, it's really not that hard. Anybody in here into basketball? Good. I lived in a town a few years ago called Chicago. They have a little basketball team there that plays in the NBA called the Bulls. Fairly decent team. And about an hour and a half before every game at the United Center, they have to turn the lights on before they let the crowds in. Because one gentleman goes in there, and he stands there, and he does the most mundane thing a basketball player can do. He shoots foul shots for 1 hour. About an hour and 15 minutes he does it. I mean, this is like long tones, right? Like he's not doing all the fancy stuff. He's standing there shooting foul shots. During that time, Pippen's out here signing autographs as he stands on his new Porsche or whatever. Rodman's over here in a bridal gown. And this guy stands there and does something really boring, a fundamental. You know what his name is? Michael Jordan. They have to turn the lights on so Michael can go and practice his foul shots. And you're going, well, if he's the greatest in the world, what's he practicing for? That's how he got to be the greatest. If he's got such a great foul shot average, how come he's practicing? That's how he got it. And you know what? When there's a technical foul, Michael's shooting. When it comes down to the last part of the game, Michael's shooting. Anybody watch the game yesterday? Bullets were ahead. You know what Phil Jackson finally told him? Okay, take over. And he did. And knocked down, like 26 or 27 points in the fourth quarter? Man, I can tell you, if they're behind 1, 2, or 3 points, you can bet the farm Michael's getting the ball. Because consistently, he is what's called, listen carefully, the go-to person. The go-to person is the person in life that when things need to get done, the boss goes to. You want to be the go-to person. In your band, choir, orchestra, general music, school, work, McDonald's, whatever you do, you want to be the person that when something goes wrong, they go to. Because you're the most consistent. You're the one that can do the fundamentals. You want to be the go-to person. Now, let me tell you the price you pay to be the go-to person. The go-to person may get a call at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning and says, can you come over and help sort uniforms? The go-to person may be the one that has to give up going over to this school at a prom because the Dixieland band is playing at the local mall opening. That's the go-to person. That's what you want to be. You want to be that Michael Jordan. Now, I apologize for this tuberculosis, but just hang with me. Okay? These are not leaders. These are leaders. Let's look at the difference. There's not a huge difference. So those in this room who really, honestly, from the bottom of your heart want to be leaders, it's within your grasp. Not leaders tend to be I, me. That's one of the reasons we played that game with the hands. If every consideration, every decision that comes up, you're worried about I, me, you're not a leader. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. And it doesn't mean someday you won't be a leader. You're just into selfish independent. You're not up to level of cooperation. Everything's I, me. How many of you ever, like the bus is going to stop and there's a big fight where you're going to stop to eat? How many have been through one of those? You know, McDonald's, no, Wendy's, no, they serve rats, no, Kentucky. I shouldn't tell you this because it'll get on tape and some of my old students will see it. I used to travel with the pep band and the pom-poms and the cheerleaders and all this sort of thing. One time we were going to Alabama to play a game. This was when I was teaching at the University of Missouri. And they were going, and I was like, okay, where do you guys want to eat? Oh, my God, they fought and they screamed. And I said, I've got to have a unanimous decision in about 3 minutes. And they couldn't come up with one. So guess what we did? We missed a meal. We just kept driving. Oh, they got so mad. How could you do that? We'll starve to death. No, look at your waistlines. You're fine. You're good for, you know. And oh, they were so upset. That night, finished the game, we come back. I said, we're coming up to a series of restaurants. Tell me where you want to eat. You got 3 minutes. I had a decision in 30 seconds. And everybody was happy. People have to give up. Give it up. So what? I mean, it's all bad food. It doesn't make any difference at this stage. These people over here are we us. They're we us people. They're going, I don't care. Eat wherever you want to eat. Find me. Somebody make the call. Just call it. That'll be fine. Mexican. Sure, Mexican food's fine. Let's go for it. Chinese. I don't like that. Oh, boy. Now, here we go. I. These people over here are constantly feeding that one. Constantly nourishing that little baby called the ego. Now, this is pretty advanced, but let's go with it. Does anybody know what the number one fuel is for the ego? It likes one thing more than anything else. Somebody put up their hand and tell me what they think it is. Yeah, what do you think it is? Attention, that's it exactly. It loves it. It can't get enough of it. It'll do anything it can to get it. Why do you think that kid pulled that stunt the other night? Look at the attention of God. It got me to tell you all about it, didn't it? I'm not telling you about the young lady who sang beautifully the solo. I'm not telling you about the great little accompanist that was with him. I'm telling you about the kid that blew it. Now, here comes the question, and you're good. You'll get this. What's the easiest way to get attention? By doing something right or doing something wrong? Wrong. You're talking to a drummer. It works every time. Where are the drummers in here besides me? We know how to get attention. Yeah, kick over a drum, drop a cymbal, knock a tambourine off the table. That'll do it. How many said they saw the Olympics? You know what they said is the greatest human stretch of potential of athletic prowess ever in the history of mankind. We knew we were going to do good, but nobody had any idea we would do as good as we did. We had people not only break records, but break them by further than they thought that it was humanly possible to break them. You know what the Olympics will be remembered for? The bombing. You're exactly right. One pathological idiot just controlled the history. Get that name in the book. How many heard about that TWA flight that went down? Did you hear about all the ones that landed safely? No. We are a society that loves things wrong. So if I'm in your group and I can't get any attention, why? It's pretty easy what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do something wrong. These people over here, the least thing that they think about is attention. They're on mission. They're just wanting to get the job done. They just want to get it done as well as they can. They don't care who gets the credit. In fact, they don't even want the credit. It takes up too much time. These people over here do what feels good. Remember we were talking about that? 80% of decisions made on feeling. These people over here do what they know. They're knowledge-based. The ledge of knowing, knowledge. These people over here want everything when? Right now. They're instant gratification oriented. I want to go to a 3-hour leadership workshop and that's it. I never want to go again. I just want to get it one time. It's like glamour shots. How many of you know what glamour shots are? How many girls have ever done that thing? They go in and make you look like something you aren't. They puff you up and put makeup on and woo, and then they sell you $75 worth of pictures, whatever. It's just wonderful. And you come out and you give me one of the pictures and I'm like, oh, cool, who is this? You go, it's me. They can do miracles in there, can't they? They don't look anything like that. Because that's not the way it is, girls. Is it, right? You don't look like that all the time. You just did it for the moment. These people over here do a thing called delayed gratification. They'll put off the good times. And actually, I've thought about this a lot. I'm not sure you have to delay gratification. I'm really not sure you have to. I think you just start to like whatever you're doing. If you're in here, you just like being in here. You know, if you're in the back seat of a car on the hump, you just like really get into it. Go, cool. This really feels weird up my fan. You know what? I don't know. Good. So I got to do this feel good stuff for you. Put your best paper down. Let's have some fun. Where are the veterans in here? Veterans, where are you? How many doing this for the third time? Anybody for the third time? Fourth time? Anybody up to 4? 4? Guys, you can do it by now, right? Veterans, tell me something. Does it get better or worse for you each time? Yeah, well, they're not going to say worse. That's the first thing. They're not going to go, boy, Tim, you're a lot worse this year than you were last time. Okay, here you go. Take your hands and put them like this. It's my favorite thing. See if your left thumb's on top or your right thumb's on top. How many had your left thumb on top? If you had your left thumb on top, you're a right-brain person, which basically means you're artistic, you're musical, you like colors. You know, you're one of those, You're a person that loses track of time. Left thumb people can never know where they are in terms of time. You also lose things. Left thumb people always, you watch them, they'll go like, oh, dang it. I had my keys. I lost my keys. Somebody goes, they're in your hand. Okay, we got it. We're okay. Got it. You're great kissers. Left thumb people are incredible kissers. Because you get in there and forget how much time it's taken, and you just develop great technique there. How many have your right thumb on top? There's my thinkers in this room. See, you're real cognitive people. You're the people that put those bricks up. See how even those babies are, and you've got them all lined up perfectly, and you put those lights up and spaced them out, and you've got that curtain so it would hang perfectly, and these steps are exactly the right. You're very cognitive. You're very organized and analytical. You're good thinkers. See, if I put those bricks up, I'd put one like that, and then one upside down like that, and then one across like that, and a blue one and a yellow one. And good thinkers and good kissers. Did anybody do it like that? Anybody do it like that? Did you? That means you think you're a good kisser if you do it like that. Okay? Now. Matt wrote it down. Think I'm a good kisser. No, I just tease Matt. Take your hands apart. Now, clasp them together the other way. Whichever way you were, go the other way. How's it feel? It's uncomfortable. We want to go back in our comfort zone, don't we? This is uncomfortable. You're like, well, this is stupid. Who would do this? The person beside you. Go take your hands apart. The minute I say go, clasp them together as fast as you can. Ready, go! Go the old way or the new way? Old way. Most people go the old way when they're under pressure. So you walk out of this room, the pressure hits, you'll go back to your old habits. Take them apart again. This time as fast as you can, go the new way. Go! Yeah. I impaled my hand. Take it apart. New way. Stay with me. Now, stay with me. See if you play safe and you stay in here, or you're like, yo, baby. Let's see if you mirror. Let's mirror. That's it. Look, I can't. My mind. Good. Now we're gonna switch. We're gonna go the other way. Get ready. I'll tell you when. Okay, go the old way. Now to the new way. Now to the old way. Now the new way. Every other one. Every other one. Stay with me. Every other one now. Okay, get ready. Here we go. Who can't keep time in here? Mirror. Just keep switching. Look, in your mind going, no, 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 I can't. See, it doesn't feel good. We keep wanting to do the same thing the same way. How many of you can ride a bicycle? Remember the first time you did it? How bad you were? Yeah. How many of you girls can wear high heels, or you do wear high heels? Remember the first time you did it? Was it comfortable? You want to see something funny? Put a guy in a pair of high heels. Watch it. Leadership is uncomfortable. It's not something natural. It's amazing. Take your hands, put them like this, one up, one down. Good. The minute I say go, switch it. Ready? Go. Yeah, do you see people going like, switch back, switch back, switch back. Look, some people just like make crap up. They just like, it's amazing. Take your hands and clap like applause. Clap. Now do it again. Give me a little energy. Don't whistle and shout. Just clap. Ready? Good. If you clap like this, turn over like this. If you're like this, turn over like this. Clap. Go back the first way. Isn't that weird? Don't you go, I can't make it, I can't do it. So, when people say, I can't, what's the easiest way? What's the next option then? Quit. Absolutely, give up. Well, I can't do this stuff. So I quit. So if you're a leader and they go, I can't, we got to move in right away. And we got to make it safe, challenging, and encouraging, and put the emphasis on that child. I just gave you the secret to leadership. Not go in and beat them up. I watch seniors scream at freshmen. Can't you feel the pride? No, they don't have a clue what you're talking about. How could they feel the pride? They've not even been in it before. Don't you care? Well, I'm here, I must. And we yell stupid things. And you've learned it from us. You've learned it from people who yell. See, I just don't think anybody purposely does anything wrong, with the exception of my friend I met this weekend. But he was only doing that for attention for himself. Never judge a man till you walk a mile in his moccasins. Learn the different ways. You know, before you people go make fun of orchestra people, pick up a viola and play it in a clef that most people can't read. You know, that's why I say I'm glad we have some cheerleaders here tonight, because, boy, you take a bad rap. Bless your hearts. It's just all that rah-rah stuff. Fiddle-dee-dee. They're out there giving when nobody else wants to. When it rains, most of us leave. They stay. When it's desperate and the season is 0-14, they're still there. So I have a lot of respect for people. I mean, we all look good in the good times. I love those of you who hang in the bad times and are willing to keep it. I don't want to talk about marching band here, but I watch people marching. How many of you do marching band, back to school, get everyone all together, right? And how many of you have to start at the beginning, just like you didn't know anything, right? So here's the two seniors down here going, I cannot believe we're doing this stupid mark time. Man, I give it to my man making $38 a day. I'm down here doing this stupid. And they're like, oh yeah, I cannot believe I can do this in my sleep. And this is so stupid. Why are we wasting our time doing that? You know what the freshmen are doing? They're down here going, yeah, we're 38, stupid 38. They're copying the whole thing. They're copying the attitude, too. And then it comes to the performance, and the upperclassmen roll back the tapes of experience, and they're doing all their hot shot, stupid things like that, and do, and like that. You know what the freshmen do? Yeah, stupid 38, Martha. We're the stupid 38. And then they roll the tape on Monday, and everybody goes, what's wrong with the freshmen? They learned it from us. How many of you want to be good? I don't want to just throw a figure out, but we now know that over 90% of success is based on a person's attitude, not their skill level. Come on. That's the switch you all got inside of you. You want to be a leader? You got to start wanting to be a leader. You got to pull yourself up in that chair, put a smile on your face, and say, let me go for it. If anybody had a right to say, I don't want to do it, I figured that little girl with leukemia did. She kept going for it. This is your life we're talking about. So you want to reach higher. You want to try different things. Good. Now that you got your pencil paper up, if you're right-handed, put your pen or pencil in your left hand. If you're left-handed, put it in your right hand. Oh, no, Mr. Bill, no. I want you to print clearly. Isn't this fun? Print clearly. How now, brown cow? How now, brown cow? Print it clearly. When you're done, hold your hand up. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. A few ambidextrous people in here. Cool. I will stop you there. Would you look at the person to your right and left and just see how well they did on that? Good. Does it look like there's a bunch of first graders in here? Right? Now, put the pen or pencil in the hand that you normally use and print carefully, how now, brown cow. Hold up your hand when you're done. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. First one was 34 seconds. That one was 8. Look at which one looks best. You wonder why people don't want to change? People don't want to change because it looks good that way. I can do it. I've got power that way. This time when you mix, bust it wide open. Ready? Go.
What's your name?
I'm Casey.
What did you think of Dr. Tim, Casey?
Oh, I loved it. I've heard a lot of speakers, and I would say Dr. Tim is one of the best I've heard. He talks on our level, and he's excellent.
Is this your first time here?
This is my first time.
What do you think might be the most important idea that you've gotten from the night?
That we need a lot more leaders in this world, and that I should go back and stand up to all the students in my own school and lead them, and they can be followers.
Do you think you might suggest this to your friends?
Oh yeah, I would. I hope they do come next year or whenever they can.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
All right. And we start doing this, and pretty soon that incredible enthusiasm and joy gets down to here, and then we get mad, and we get real cynical about it. We get real jaded. We get real like, well, that's good enough. And we just, and we start doing everything that way. We start walking that way. We start talking to our friends that way. Hi, how you doing? Good, yeah, great day. And there's never any really spark anymore. And then something comes along where there's a chaotic moment, and somebody gets killed, or there's a wreck, or somebody, we find out they have Hodgkin's disease or whatever, and then all of a sudden we're all woo for a while, and then it's glamour shots. Then we come back to here. How many of you want things to get better? How many in this room are just tired of mediocrity? Then you have got to start stretching it. Now, I'll be honest with you. Nobody's going to follow you until they trust you. Don't you understand that's why the general was doing it? Why the general was walking around tapping people? Because he knew if they were in there, he couldn't get the water smooth. I think he ended up with 68 when it was done. And I'm going to tell you, there were 68 kids that they could thread their needles with their thoughts. I mean, that group was just... And what happened with those 68 was phenomenal. But it was not going to happen with the 162. And he knew it. And he just kept chipping away. It was like he was a sculptor until he got down to the beautiful part. To do this, there has to be trust. Nobody follows anybody we don't trust. How many of you have been in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship in this room? How many of you have ever been in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship and one of the partners did something that was untrustworthy? And you know what we tend to think? Well, don't get in one of those again because those guys, how they are. They're so untrustworthy. I mean, they can't count them. And the guys are going, those girls, shoo. And all of a sudden, we start pushing against each other again. I'm going to play a game that just to show you how trustworthy you are. How many of you ever played this game where you're going like, How many ever played that? Yeah, we're not going to play that. In this game, you can put out one finger or two. You can go, or, Now, let me show you what it does, because this is a great game to take home. You can play, find out who's trustworthy. It involves a pot of money, unlimited supply of money. Cool. Now, we'll divide into partners. Let me just, so you can see how this works. If this is me, and this is my partner, and let's say this is the first round. See? I threw a 2, my partner threw a 1. If I throw a 2, and my partner throws a 1, I reach up into that pot, and I take out $5. I make 5. My partner has to put $3 into the pot. Got it? So that puts me ahead by what? 8. Plus 5 minus 3, 8. Who said 2? You're still trying to figure out how many people are on that bus, aren't you? Okay, let's say this happens. And I put out the 1, excuse me, and my partner puts out the 2. Then I have to put $3 into the pot, and my partner takes $5 out. Still with me? Now, if I go too fast, tell me, because I mean, this, I play this so many times. If this happens, and we each throw the 2, excuse me, if we each throw the 2, we each have to put $8 into the pot. We each lose 8. And then there's only one other combination, isn't there? Here we go. And we each put out a 1. If we each put out a 1, we each take $1 out of the pot. Now, is there anybody that doesn't understand? I'll explain again if I need to. Good. We'll play several games. You have to keep a running total of how you're doing. You're not interested in how your partner's doing. You're interested in how you're doing. So let me show you what a running total is. Let's say the first time I win 5. I just put a little 5 there. Then I lose 8. Ouch. Right away, I total, which would be what? Minus 3. Then I win 1. Yay. Minus 2. Then I win 5. Yay. Now I'm at plus 3. And each time I total. And we'll find out who the most trustworthy person in this room is. Now, as with all my games, you can't talk when you play the game. So pair up all the way. Turn and face partner. Now, I need your honesty here. Is there anybody that has a partner from their own school? Just be honest and hold up your hand if you do. Okay? Can you switch around so that doesn't happen? Switch with some people. Anybody will move for you and with you and against you and all that. Yeah, just switch. Somebody will switch. They'll be delighted to. Yeah. Yeah. Just go ask somebody to switch. They'll switch with you. It's no big deal. Just ask somebody to switch. We'll get you set. Don't worry. Don't worry. Just switch. Yeah, be great. Good. Now, would you take your partner's right hand? Would you take your partner's right hand? We're going to have people growing together in here, aren't we? My dear, go out that way, and then you won't have to crawl over. Yeah. Okay, we'll get you set. Don't worry. Take your partner's right hand. If you don't have a partner, simply stand. If you don't have a partner, stand. Look at that, how that worked out. Isn't that amazing? Good. Look behind you. Duh. Okay, great. Good. So you just have to coil around there. Jump and get somebody in the back. They'll be happy. Just sit down there on the floor. Relax. Yeah. My dear, did you get a partner? Okay, all set? Now, you can let go of their hand. You go, I love to hold their hand, Tim. That's the best part. We're going to play about 10 or 11 games here, and we're going to find out who is the most trustworthy in this room, because that's who people are going to follow. Okay, load them up. We're going to pop them on 3. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Okay? Write down how you did. Anybody not know? Okay. Good. Load them up again. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. No, don't talk. Don't talk, because if you talk, you ruin it. Now, did you get your total? Did you get your total? You got a total. Okay, let's load them up again. Here we go. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Cool. Total. Keep totaling. Here we go. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Get your total. Just out of curiosity, how many of you are in the minus column? And you're the leaders, right? You're like, oh, crap. How many of you and your partner are in the minus column? Ah, isn't this exciting? That's what relationships are about. Okay, here we go. Load them up. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Again, here we go. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. This is amazing. You think you got a jerk for a partner, didn't you? Here we go. Of all the people in this room, I had to get you. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. 3 more games. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Keep that total going. Calculator, calculator. Here's the last one, so make it a good one. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Look at your total. If you're in the minus column, please stand. Now stay up. We're going to find out who's got the worst here. If you're at minus 25 or more, stay standing. If you're at minus 30 or more, stay standing. 35 or more, stay standing. 40 or more, stay standing. My gosh. What do you have, dear? Minus 41? Minus 52? Can anybody beat that one? 56? Who's your partner? Mike, what do you have? 0. They trashed each other. How many of you and your partner are in the minus column? That means in your leadership, you took each other down. Okay, if you're in the plus, stand up. If you're in the plus, I have less people here. Plus 25 or more, stay standing. Now, I can tell you, the people that are standing right now didn't figure the game out. If you're at about a plus 11 or 12, how many games do we play? 10. If you're at a plus 10 and your partner is at a plus 10, stand. Everybody else sit down. There are the winners. You're like, uh-oh. Sit down. Let me explain. Let me explain, because this may be the most important thing here all night. And you know what? I don't play this game unless it's a good group, because they can't handle it. Concept. Win, lose. Right? I win, my partner loses. Ha, 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 ha. Hit. Hit back. Okay. This is lose, win. What's this one? Lose, lose. What's this one? Win, win. Now listen very carefully, because for some of you, this is where you'll get pushed over the edge. There's only one way to win the game. Never put out the 2. You go, well, stupid. I can really run my score up. I know. But the game is not, in life, is not about who has the highest score. In leadership, it's who garners the most trust. Now, I want you to watch something. Josh, you want to come up here and help me? I have no idea what Josh is going to throw. Ready? Turn a little bit so they can watch your hand. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. Josh just took me. Now, I lost. Tell me what happened to the trust level. Did it go up or down? Well, for me, it went down. I can't believe this snot-nose did this to me. Coming out of the chute. Ready? And 1, 2, 3. But do I trust him? No, he threw the 2 on me before, the jerk. 1, 2, 3. There. Take some of your own medicine, you smart aleck teenage brat. See? And I turn right into an adult. And Josh goes, throw the 2. 1, 2, 3. And you all go, well, you deserved it. Now, if we were keeping score, you know we'd both be in the minus column, don't you? But it's worse than that. Thanks, Josh. It's worse than that. Neither of us... Neither of us trust each other. For those of you who think you can get by with it, it goes back to that part that hides again. Honesty, integrity, dignity, ethics, sensitivity. The minute you throw the 2, you put the other person on defense. And I know what you're going to say. I know. Well, what do I do if they throw a 2 on me? You have 2 choices if you're a leader. One is to continue to stand and throw the 1. The other is to leave the game. But the minute you throw your 2, you're right back here. And you know what? We've taught you to do it. You get a test back in class. Watch the reaction. You get a test back, you get like a D on it or an F on it. You're like, 61, F. Dang it. What's the next thing out of your mouth? Yeah, what'd you get? This person goes, I got an F. Yeah, but what was your number? 36. All right, I beat you. And the trick is to beat the other person, not in leadership. In leadership, the trick is to support the other person. Okay, I'll play against you. Tim against the whole group. Ready? There we go. Ready? And 1, Let me see what you got. Hold them up. Let's see it. We got a couple 2s out there. We got people didn't get, a few people didn't get it. A few people that still think they can make themselves good by putting down somebody else. It is such a short-lived experience. How many of you want people to follow you? They will only follow you when they trust you. They will trust you when you don't ever put them in a bad position. Mix the group fast. Go! You're the best. Thank you. Appreciate it. Guys from same school? Same school? Same school? Good. And he comes around the corner. Since we got videotape running here. Somebody tell me the most important thing you've learned about leadership so far. Now, by the way, I don't have any wrong answers to my questions, so don't get into this, I'll probably say the stupid thing or wrong thing. The wrong thing would be no thing. What do you got so far, kiddo? Wendy's walking away right now. She knows she's got to put others sometimes before herself. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, the honesty thing may have come up for you, Sarah. How important attitude is in the whole game of leadership. Yeah. Yeah, the trick about lifting others up, making them look good, yeah. I'm sorry? Yes, trust. You know, this whole one-to-one. That's why I say, you can put your hands down a second. When I go around, I go, are you from the same school? Are you from the same school? Have you moved? The honesty factor's already out of the, So, again, to the directors, this is so important. I don't know if you want to put this on the tape or not. This is up to you. Last year, in fact, it was right after I left here, I went to Kansas City, and the next night I went into St. Louis. And I'd finished, it was a great group. It was a wonderful group of people, just like you. And I'd finished in the session, and it was all, great. And I walked in the bathroom, and there were two young men in the bathroom. They didn't see me walk in. And I heard one guy say to his buddy, he goes, "Oh, what'd you learn?" The guy goes, "I didn't learn nothing." He said, "All he did was talk about giving." He said, "You know what I'm going to give? I'm going to find Mary Beth, and I'm going to give," and you can fill in the blank. He turned around, and he saw me. He goes, "Oh, I didn't know you were here." And then he says, this is great, he goes, "I was just kidding." No, don't lie. Now is when you're kidding. What you got was nothing. What you got out of it was nothing. Now, I have to also share with you, that's just about what you put into it, too. Leadership is like kissing. If you get a partner that's not really willing, you can't do a whole lot from your side, can you? You got to have a little pressure coming back on the other side there. So, to the directors in this room, and we have, we've popped 300 tonight. This is the biggest session we've ever had here. When you get out in the bus or the car or the van or however you came, let's be honest. Everybody in this room ain't going to get it. There's just too many people here. So the kid that goes like, "Oh, I think it was stupid, and he was wacko, and that guy was crazy, man, there's nobody does that stuff. That is the corniest crap I ever heard," and all this stuff, which I know is going to show up. The worst thing we can do is try to tell them they're wrong. Is to go like, or the rest of you go, "Well, weren't you listening? It was you he was talking about. You're the one that's always been." That just makes it worse. Just go, "Fine. That's where you are about it." But for heaven's sakes, don't put them in charge. Don't make a leader of them out of you. They're not right. They've got to stay on the vine. How many of you in this room tonight have figured out that what we're talking about is the way, the pathway, the discipline of your life? Yes, if you've got your hand in the air, you've got it. If you're thinking it's about getting extra stripes on your jacket or being voted president of your organization, no, that has nothing to do with that. It has to do with walking out here and helping somebody and making it better. And realizing that when you walk down the hallway of the school and there's a piece of paper there, you don't pick it up because the principal's watching. You don't walk by it because they've hired a custodial staff to take care of it. Because when you pick it up and throw it away, you feel better about you. See, that's what that little Shelley girl had figured out. She's got 4 months of life left. She figures she's got to give it all away. And boy, was she good. Where most people, when they found out their life is marginal, are getting mad about it. She went just the other way. Man, we all love Santa. That's a good thing. Here's the 4 ways to get people to follow you. Thanks for putting up with my coughing tonight, too. Here it goes. Number 1 is this. And we've talked about it, and that's what the hand thing was about. Make the follower important. Put the emphasis on the follower. You put the emphasis, if I put the emphasis on Jamie, Jamie will follow me. If I put it on Elena or Lana will follow me. Lynn will follow me. Desiree will follow me. Deanna will follow me. Zach will follow me. Leanne will follow me. Liz will follow me. All I got to do is pop those first names, and their heads come right up. And they go, me, you want me? You want me? If I make Melissa, she'll follow me. She just came up to me. Or Sean. Or Pat. Or Jana. And thanks for bringing the book, Jana. Or Aaron. Or Kevin. Or Candy. Or Jason. Or Amy. Notice that all we have to do is just go, there. If I make you important, you follow me. Put the attention on the followers, not on you. And if you're one of those people who goes, yeah, but I am really cool, just keep thinking about what this kid did. I shouldn't tell you this. I had this on a tape series a long time ago. I was very proud of it. Is anybody in here from a private school before I tell you this? Does anybody go to a private school? Is it a Christian school or a Catholic school? Okay, you're okay then. Catholic school? Catholic. Okay, is there anybody that goes to one of those private schools that's this way? You know what I'm talking about? To say you go there is the thing. It's a prep school for Harvard or whatever, which is fine. Several years ago, this happened when I first started doing this, and I put this on a tape series. I walked in, and it was the band, the choir, and the orchestra at this school. And they had to work together. They weren't working together, and there was all this concern. So I went in, and I'm standing there talking to the music supervisor or whoever, and I said, well, let's get started. It was a beautiful auditorium, and I mean, this is a whole campus, and the kids pay like $20,000 a year to go to school there, and they wear their blazers and their crests, and you know what I'm talking about. You know, everybody's got neat cars and all this. I said, well, let's get started. He goes, well, we can't start yet. He's like, Don's not here. Who's Don? Well, Don, he wants to be here because he's one of the kingpins. Pretty soon the door opens, and in walks this kid, about 15 minutes late, and the walk is like this. It's like, and he's got 3 guys behind him. These are the Donettes or something. I don't know what they're. Right, he walks in, and he walks across in front of the music supervisor. He does one of these. He's like, I acknowledge you. And then he walks up to me and he goes, you must be Doc. I said, I'm sorry. He said, you're the doctor. You're the guy that's going to do the head trip on us. And I said, well, we're going to have a little session here. But I said, I'm not sure there's anything big deal about it. He goes, Doc, he said, you need any help? I'm your boy. Call on me. I said, thank you. And he walks to the back of this huge auditorium, goes way back beyond the back seat of people, sits down in the chair. The Donettes go right with him, and they sit down beside him. He slumps in the chair. He puts his earphones onto his Walkman, and he hits the play button. And it was playing so loud, it bled out over. How many know what I'm talking about? So you hear like, and he's jamming. The music supervisor says, you can start now. You want to make this better? We'll have a donectomy. So I start, and the group, unlike you tonight, is just, it's terrible. So I went for about 15 minutes. I thought, this is the stupidest thing in the world. We're going nowhere. So I just walked to the back of the room, and I like tapped him, and he's like, Jen, he's like, I said, take your earphone. And he takes them out, but he doesn't shut it off. So you hear like, shut it off. I said, stand up. He stood up, and I said, you're not into this at all, are you? He goes, I just don't like people that bend other people's minds. And I said, well, why don't you go then? No, I got to stay. I said, no, you don't. No, I get in trouble if I go. I said, you won't. In fact, you'll do me a favor. Please, go. He does one of these. He goes, you'll tell. No, I won't. I won't tell. He's like, then I'm out of here. And he looks at his buddies. He goes, come on, let's go. And now, it was interesting to watch a group because one of the kids started to stand up, and when the other 2 guys didn't go, he sat back down. I mean, you could cut the tension. It's great. This kid's like, wimps, and out he goes. He left, and the group, it took about 90 seconds to go from this to that. They were right on the money. In fact, I didn't even know it was the same kids. I never had so much fun. At the end, they're standing and cheering, and the 3 guys he was with were the biggest ducks in the puddle. Man, the minute he wasn't there, they went for it. So after it's over with, here come these 3 guys. That is so cool, man. That was so cool, man. We need to work together. We need to quit screwing around. And I said, that's it. And one of the guys goes, what time you got to go? I said, my plane doesn't leave for about 3 hours. Hey, you want to go to lunch with us? We got a great haunt, man. We get some great burgers, man. And I said, that's really nice. You guys invite me. I said, you know what? I said, I'd like to go on one condition. What's that? I said, I get to buy. He's our man. He's our man, yeah. So we go outside, and we're jabbering and talking. Walk around the corner. The first person we run into, Don, leaning up against a white Corvette. His car was parked out there. I'm sure you all have one, so. So we walk around, they're like, Don, you should have stayed. You should have stayed, Don. We did this, and he's like, you bunch of wimps. He said, you are so easily convinced. He said, don't you understand he's a con artist? So I thought, well, I'll help him out. I said, hey, Don, I said, is that your car? He's like, I can't do this well. He goes, Yes, my wheels. And I said, that is a great car. He goes, that's all you know, it's junk. A Corvette? And I said, oh no. I said, that's GM's flagship. He goes, it's just plastic. He says, my dad's buying me a Porsche next month. No, there's a car. And I said, well, when you get your Porsche, if you don't want that Corvette any longer, you give me a call, I'll drive it around for you. He goes, you might as well, you're a loser anyways. Ooh. I said, Don, don't say another word. Why? I said, every time I've extended my hand, you've spit on it today. And I said, and even now, after letting you out of the session, I've come out, I've done everything I can to include you, and you're not there. So I said, do not say another word, because you're not verbally, mentally, or psychologically prepared for the game that's about to happen. But if you drop that gauntlet one more time, I'm going to unload. And you can't come close to the verbal ammunition dump I'm carrying with me. But I'm ready. He's like, then just leave it. I look back, here's all the guys. I said, come on guys, let's go. Come on, we're not gonna have enough time if we don't go. Took about 11 steps, and he goes, hey you! I turned around, I said, yeah. He goes, you are a loser. I said, Don, what have you got that makes you such a big deal around this place? That everybody just bows to you. He goes, well, I got a Porsche. What have you got that makes you such a big deal around here? And I said, all your friends. Now, see, doesn't it feel good? It feels good, doesn't it? It's the worst thing I could have done. I didn't figure this out until about a year ago. In fact, I was very proud of it. I was very proud of what I just did there. It felt good to do it. It felt good to jam him right in the face. But who did I lose in the process? Yeah, I lost him. Plus, how many of you in this room think that after I left, he got the 3 guys back and turned their minds right back around? Absolutely, he did. Why wasn't I smart enough to go, Don, you know, I hadn't thought about a Porsche being better than a Corvette. Tell me about that. Where did you get that information? How's that work? I hadn't thought about that. You know, plastic, that's incredible. Hey, come on, I'm buying lunch. Come with us. Let's talk about this stuff. No, Tim let his ego get in the way. So, you know, I talk about this stuff, and I'm making the mistakes. And yet I'm wanting you to go, come on, lift up. You've got to make other people put the emphasis on the people. The second thing you do is this. If you want people to follow you, you must explain exactly what you want. I'm talking exactly. I'm talking breaking it down so anybody can understand it. How many of you have ever been in a class where, I mean, it was so far over your head you didn't have a clue what was going on? How many were even afraid to ask? Be honest. So what do? Just hang out? Hope the semester hurries up and gets over with? How many have ever been around a leader that you couldn't understand what they wanted? Frustration, yes or no? Temptation to leave? Yes. So, you know, we're over here going, come on, I want you to do this, this, and this. And the kid's like, you go, okay, stop. Maybe if I can just get you to sit and look. Maybe if I can just get you to make eye contact. That would be great. And you acknowledge them for that. And the next day you add one little increment. Anybody ever been around a little kid? Anybody ever watch a little kid learn to walk? You ever notice how we do it? When they get up and take about 3 steps and fall down, do we make fun of them? Do we go, ah, you idiot. My Lord, look, your feet are turned out, your diaper's full. What are you doing? What's this crap all about, right? No, we get them up and we help them. Remember when they learn to talk and they're sitting there and the first time they go, whoa! You're like, they spoke. Water. Get them water. We don't go, I'm sorry, I cannot hear your consonants. Water, water, water. As far as I'm concerned, you can thirst to death. We do everything we can to help them. Well, why don't we do that to these other people? Explain exactly what you want. Third thing is this. Communicate and communicate often. You have to communicate all the time. Most of us only communicate when we want something. You communicate all the time. I mean, you got faxes, beepers, buzzers, telephones, computers, email. Gosh, it's a communicator's dream. How many have ever been in a situation where you didn't hear from somebody for a while? No, then when you heard from them, all they did was want something from you. Yeah, see, we don't follow those people. We follow those people who just send you a card one day and say, hey, I just want to thank you for being around. You're a good friend. Nothing else when you get out of here. Get to your best friend and say thanks for putting up with me. Thanks. You know, everybody wants to have a best friend. I'm lucky to have yours. One of my best friends I failed to say that to. And he didn't come back. And I've always regretted not just grabbing that guy and hugging him and saying, do you know how important you are to the development of my life? Oh, no, Tim was too cool. You have time to do that. Don't miss that. And I know you don't always agree with mom and dad, but they're your mom and dad. You don't get to trade them in. So just, if nothing else, go, you know what? We don't always agree, but if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here, so thanks. Cool. And one time, do those dishes when they don't expect you to do them, and watch what happens. That's the greatest form of communication. The greatest form of communication here tonight that you gave me is your presence. And I don't mean TS, I mean CE. This. Ask any girl in this room. The greatest form of communication from a guy is his eye contact, right, ladies? When he just looks at you and goes, just being with you is the best thing in the world. Oh, I love it. And the last one is this. The last way to get people to follow you, when something goes wrong, and it will, count on it. When something goes wrong, take the blame. Be the first one to stand up to take the blame. Instead of ignoring the blame or avoiding the blame, take it. Say, sure, put it right here. We love people who go, it's my responsibility. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this tonight. I've got to admit, I'm never sure if I can get the pond smooth enough. I'm going to let you move one more time, and it's going to kind of make my decision whether we do this or not. When you move, I really want you to bust completely away from the people you know. Some of you still kind of get back in there, that comfort zone. Just bust it wide open, and then give me total smooth pond. Ready, go. Good. You're doing good. You're doing these fast. Same school? Same school? Same school? Here for the first time tonight. First time people, is this like you thought it was going to be, yes or no? No. Somebody tell me how it's different than you thought it was going to be. Just put your hand up and tell me. How's it different than you thought it was going to be? Yeah, Jason? This is not supposed to be near this much fun. Brandon? Not supposed to have a good time during this, yeah. Lecture? Yeah. Huh? Yeah, we more that sort of thing. Yeah. You know what? I couldn't do that because I start laughing. Do you ever get in a situation where you're not supposed to laugh? You know what I'm talking about? Like a funeral or something like that? And where you're restricted in that environment, like a church. You ever go in church and get tickled? Or did you ever get hysterical? Where you're just like, you know, everybody's like, what's wrong? I can't do it. It's supposed to be as close to enlightenment as you can get. So let's get this down. Here it is. Let's put it in capsule form. Number one is this. I saw this the other day, and I just thought it was one of the neatest things I'd ever seen. I love little sayings and stuff, because they really are inspirational. I saw this on the wall of a music room, and it said this: expect more, tolerate less. And I was like, oh my gosh, is that good? Expect more of yourself and tolerate less of that friller stuff. The next one is this. Choose to understand before being understood. Choose to understand before being understood. Choose to look at it through the other person's eyes first before you react. It's called proaction. I was doing a thing a couple years ago. There was a young man sitting in the back of the room, sort of like this the whole time. And I gave a couple pops and, eye contact, nothing. And I was about ready to take him out. In fact, towards the end, I was like, by golly, buddy, if you just don't sit up and get with this, I'm going to make an example of you. And my ego got in the way and all this sort of thing. Fortunately, I didn't. Finished, everybody's all clown. Everybody walked out, and this young man continued to sit there in this chair. And some teachers were coming up and talking, and pretty soon he got up, and it was like this. He got up like this, like, and he starts walking like this. And he comes all the way across the room up to me. He goes, I really and off he walked. I almost said something to him. I mean, I was ready to kick him out. And I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't do that. And this teacher came running up. She says, you don't know what just happened. I said, you don't know what just about happened. She said, what are you talking about? I said, I was ready to let him go. I said, I was going to make an example out of him. She said, like, that's Brett or whatever. She said, he's attention deficit. You know what that means? They can't concentrate for... She said, we can't get that kid to sit for 10 minutes. She said, he just sat for 3 hours and listened to you. She said, Brett does not communicate with people. She said, the fact that he even came up to you, and then he even tried to talk to you, she goes, his speech is just so minimal. And she said, I didn't know he knew what that meant. See, I didn't look at it through Brett's eyes. I only looked at it through my own eyes. That was one of his best days ever. Choose to understand before being understood. Second thing is this. Act like you want to be. Act like you want to be, and you'll be like you want to act. It's one of those flip phrases. Act like you want to be, and you'll be like you want to act. See, I think it starts out with an act. I don't think, people go, oh, he's a natural born leader. Well, he's just, that person, they're just naturally born. They're naturally gifted. I have not met anybody like that yet. And I get to hang out with the best people in the world. I have not met anybody that's just natural. The people I know that really are good leaders work at it, and they work at it hard. How many of you sometimes just really don't want to do it? Be honest. How many sometimes have to sort of put on a happy face? How many of you have ever noticed that after you put on a happy face for about 7 or 8 minutes, you feel great? Well, our mind doesn't know the difference between fact and fiction. Subconscious takes everything in as fact. So if you go, ooh, I don't want to go into this geometry class, and I don't want to go, and you're in the hallway going, and then you just go, okay, here I go. Hey, how are you doing? And you walk in, and all of a sudden you're like, this is great. You have to put it on. You have to pretend sometimes. And people go, well, I don't want to fake it. Then you're never going to go anywhere in life. Because remember, girls, the first time on those high heels, weren't you faking it? How many of you drive in this room? Remember the first time you drove? Weren't you kind of, Where are you marching band people? The first time out there in the field when they go, is the band ready? Weren't you tempted to go, I'm not. I don't know about the rest of these folks, but you made it, didn't you? Remember the first time you kissed a guy or a girl? And the only practice you'd had up to that point was with your pillow? And you're like, ooh, cool. Come on. Leadership's the same way. The last one is this, and this is the most important one. Whatever you want is what you give away. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. Whatever you want is what you give away. It's not what you go get. It's what you give away. How many of you want people to admire you? Good, start admiring people. How many of you want people to like you? My hand's in the air. Good, start liking people. How many of you want people to listen to you? Good, listen to people. Whatever you want is what you give. How many of you like to get letters in the mail? Good, start writing letters. See, we all sit there and go, nobody ever calls me, nobody ever calls me, nobody ever calls me. Pick up the phone. I can't win the lottery, I can't win the lottery. Buy a ticket. We're all waiting. We're all sitting back and really waiting. In fact, the graduate class I do in leadership at the university level for the doctoral students, it's like they're finally going, you know what, I'm going to have to go out and shake the rafters. Absolutely. Nobody's coming to discover you. You got to go out. Whatever you want is what you give away. Put the pencil paper down. God, you've been good tonight. And I've pounded you tonight. I mean, I got in your face tonight. That's good. That's good for you. Pull up. Zoom. How many said this is their second year? Second year? Third year? Fourth year? I had a couple 4 years. Good. I really want to thank the directors. I mean, a couple years ago, I was about ready to throw this in. I was about ready to throw in the towel myself. Going, I'm too old. Doesn't make any difference. Kids aren't getting it. Even went through another situation last fall, and people, some of the people sitting back there wrote letters that were like, no, that's not right yet. I always said, any of you have a teacher left in your school that probably shouldn't be teaching right now? Kind of has the pitching arm's gone. Yeah. I always hope that somebody will tell me when my pitching arm's gone. The last thing I would ever want to do is infringe on your time. Whoever stands up here and talks to you about these delicate things really better be on your level. And if it weren't for the directors back there that cared so much about you, to get you here tonight, to give up times in their own lives so that you would have this opportunity, we wouldn't even have these sessions. Would you please join me in thanking the best teachers you'll ever have in your whole life? Thank you. Thank you. Now I'm going to pull you up to the edge here for just about 8 seconds here. Don't relax. Pull right up. The last thing you need to do is give me what you just gave me, your presence. You don't have to pay attention to anybody. Your attention is the best gift of all. You can look down, you can be cynical, you can be sarcastic, and you were anything but that tonight. In a couple cases I went, ooh, please don't write look, and I looked and the person was writing what I had just said before. I mean, you were model tonight. We couldn't have had a better group to use for taping. And for those of you who are really sensitive, you know the fact I don't feel good. So this could have gone the other way, and you're the ones that carried the extra weight tonight. And to the veterans, thank you. You prove what I talk about. If I can get 10% of this audience to be veterans, that 10% will pull the rest of them, just like we put up on the charts. The last thing you have to do is be kind to a stranger. And you were. If you're this kind to everybody, the world is going to be a better place. Thanks for a great night. God bless. Thank you. Let's go home. Bye-bye. Shoot.
What did you think of Dr. Tim?
He was exceptional. Every year, I've been here twice, and, you know, you just have to go out there and do what he says and everything. And sometimes you forget, but that's why you come back.
Coming back for a third time?
If my teacher lets me.
Thanks a lot. What did you think of Dr. Tim?
He was a great inspiration.
If you learned one thing tonight, what do you think you learned?
To pay attention to the little people.
Would you suggest this to your friends?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Thanks a lot. What did you think of Dr. Tim?
I thought he was very inspirational, and he taught a lot of good things. He really got like everyone into it by doing the sit-up, so you all paid attention.
Would you go again if you had the chance?
Oh yeah, I'd go next year. So he comes here again.